home of everything BMX racing here in the UK.
Welcome to BMX Race Hub.
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 Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to BMX Race Hub.
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 We've got loads of features for you. We've got live stream from the National Series, highlights packages from race day, weekends, interviews, insight, the inside line, all sorts of stuff coming up. If you can't make it to the race, you can watch here. And if you can make it to the race, you can watch back. So we look forward to seeing you trackside really soon.
Of Reggie Somerville in there as well, and Deaglin alone and Sam Knight also in the mix. Race 4, Kieran Brownson, Jacob Aston in this one, Louis Cheffy, Isaac Smith doing it for Rab Racing, and Flavor Flav Cakes in there in that second position. Sam Ritchie's, Ronnie Payne and Noah Ford. So as they come out of the turn, it is going to be Ronnie Payne taking it to the line, Isaac Smith. Was that Jack or was it Leo? It was Leo that hit the deck. Let's hope he's okay. So Jack Devine going in there, that final corner. With Lucas Belton in there in 2. And the Manchester rider going through in 3. 36 that took the tumble. Niall Kindi, Leo and Lewis. All right, Leo, well done, mate. Right, here we go, on to more 13-year-olds, I think. Let's have a quick look. Mason Jones, Archie Bell, James Bibby. Coming out of turn number 1, doing it for Pro Start. Had a great weekend in Teal. Thoroughly enjoyed himself making mains there. The 6 plate is Archie Bell. In there in 2, got a bit of work to do to catch up James Bibby. And the 21 going through, and the 640, that is Emil Challenger and the Lucas Gomez Sands out of Runnymede. Also got Harrison Doe in there, Mason Jones and Noah Bagwell. Race number 8, 13-year-old young ladies. Hard Knocks bike coaching, Brooke Fast Fawcett out in front. Iris Hyder in there in 2. Elsie Blight going through in 3. Rusty Nut Racing in 4. That's going to be Lily Mae Gould. But in the new Hard Knocks bike coaching kits, that is Brooke Fast Fawcett going in and out of that turn. Beth Hewitt in there as well, and Megan Mooney. Megan out of Braintree. More 13-year-old girls. Grace Gerard out in front. Hard Knocks bike coaching. That's going to be Seren Pritchard going through into the 13 plate. Belongs to Holly Hume out of Cumbernauld. In there in 3, Amelia Martin doing it for Bangor City BMX Club. In there inside the top 5, battling away with the rider on DC. Got Lexi Adams and Evie Dyson. But Gracie's taking it to the line. She's in there in 1. Seren in at 2. And Holly Hume in 3. Next up, that is Elizabeth Lola Poole. Doing it for Sorted Race Gear, Troy Lee Designs. In at moto number 10, Mara McCarran. Radco Racing in there in 4th. The W7 is Freya Harris. Up the 23 taking a fall was Elizabeth Graham. She's up, she's okay, which is good to see. Samia Hughes in there as well. Race 11, Poppy May Kirby, Millie Ross, Olivia Webb, Tyler Davenport, Hannah Mackey and Poppy Bishop. 13-year-old girls in and out of turn number 1. I can see a Halo Wheels race kit, and that can only be Miss Bishop out there in 1. Millie Ross doing it for Team Minds. Crank BMX, they've got Tyler Davenport, she's in there in about 4th spot at the moment. Chasing down riders into that final corner. Hannah Mackey doing it for LVG. National Race Team in that nice gold kit as we move on to race number 12. Right, Freddie Parkinson in there in 3. Got JP, Jack Perkins, Hard Knocks Bike Coaching out there in front aboard that Mabel, being chased down by the 2 of Ethan Howell. Doing it for the Evolve Collective. So to the line, Howell and Perkins. Who's going to get it at the stripe? I think it was Howell. Just from Perkins, Freddie Parkinson in there in 3.
Race 13 on track, 14-year-old boys heading towards that second turn. That looks like Evolve out front. Max McNulty, Evolve Collective, bringing it through the 3rd straight, the 4 plate in there in that 2 spot. That is Charlie Craig doing it for Crank BMX, coaching them 2 guys, running away with this moto as it stands. McNulty, Craig 1 and 2. Race number 14 on track, heading into that first corner. In and out they go, Crucial BMX leading this one out, the 1 plate of James Miller. Bringing it into that second turn, that looks like Mark towards Idlow out of TNT on the 18 plate. He's picking up that 2 spot, being chased down by Henry Potts, doing it for the Brunty crew. In there in 3, he's just come and picked up his lost property gloves. I think he forgot it as he was headed towards the pens, but he's picking up that 3 spot, taking it across the line. Race 15, Pipe, Suter, Walsh, Duff, Cartwright, Markley and Bojang. It is Lawrence Bojang leading this one out for Brixton BMX Club, going 1 and 2 with the rider out of the Centurions. That is Fergus Suter on the 55 plate, being chased down by Bodie Markley, doing it for Savage Racing. Looking like we've got a rider out of SAS Race Team in there as well. That is James Pipe on the 38 plate, rounding out the top 4 spots as they bring it across the line. Race 16. Sully Collis in this one, getting busy in that first corner, tried to work his way underneath the 24 plate of Charlie Wilcox, didn't quite make it stick, so it's Wilcox going at 1 and 2 with Collis at the moment. Who's the rider in there in 3, looking for a way around? That is Radco Racing, Louis Kacharik, absolutely charging towards the final turn, but it is Team Mind out front. Charlie Wilcox having an absolute ball out front, Collis pushing him to the wire. That one was close across the line. Looks like we've got Pure Bicycles in this one. Joe Douglas on the 13 plate going out of that first turn in a 1 spot. Who's in there with him? Looks like the 61 plate picking up the 2. That is Finney and Turner Smith doing it for Preston Pirates. The rider in there in 3. It looks like Rusted Up Racing's Gilmore Green on the 27 plate, and with the 26 in there in 4. That is Ruben Bishop doing it for Bournemouth BMX. Last straight action, Green putting the pressure on the rider out of Preston. He's going to pick up the 2 spot on the line. As the 14-year-old girls go in and out of that first turn, led away by the 1 plate of Ruby Warren doing it for Pure Bicycles. She's going 1 and 2 with the W8 of Esme Ward doing it for Stay Strong Bikes. So Pure and Stay Strong out front, running away with this one at the moment. If I remember correctly, these 2 ladies were battling it out all season long last year, and they're 1 and 2 in this moto at the moment. It's Braintree BMX in there for the 3 spot. That is Molly Fumi Carroll on the 10 plate. More 14-year-old girls action heading into that first turn. It looks like Absoluta leading this one out on the E5 plate. That is Emma Kiss. Looking good at the moment, going 1 and 2 with the 5 of Holly Diver out of the Titans. Who's the rider picking up the 3? That is Junk Club S&M Sources. Eva Jezek I've probably just butchered that, I do apologise Eva, but she's in there in that 4th spot as she just gets shuffled back by the 4 plate of Martha Cottam out of MCR. It got busy on the exit of turn number 1 in the 15-year-old boys. Who was the rider to exit right? That was Toby Lynch. He's back on track though, in there in about 4 at the moment. The rider out front is the 2 plate, Ned Guppy, doing it for Absolute, the 15 in there behind him. That was Oscar Jewell out of Team A, in and out of the final turn. Rusting Up Racing got a rider inside the top 3. That is Eddie Millington, rounding out them top 3 spots with Lynch picking up the 4. Cotty's on track, little Cotty, whole shots into turn number 1 and back out he goes. Rab Racing leading it at the moment from the 12 plate of Robin Matteo Alonso, repping the Argentinian jersey. Look at the move from Hard Knocks Bike Coaching, working his way in. That is the 26 plate, I think, coming on round. Freddie Warwick, that was working his way into a 2-spot. Alonso in 3. Race number 22, Duffy, Osborne, O'Brien, Shenton, Tyres, Bailey, Geddes and White all heading into that 2nd turn. Weary's Harry Bailey, he's in there in about 4 at the moment, chasing down Brody Geddes, but the move came out front. The 9 of Tyres just looked for a line on the exit of that 2nd turn and he found it, so that's shuffled Heath Osborne back to that 2 spot. So it is going to be Tyres, Osborne, Geddes 1, 2 and 3 as they take it across the line. Looks like we've got Maymo Factory Team UK in this one. That's got to be Nate Hamilton heading into the 1st turn, but he's chasing down your race leader, the W2, Kobe Rayford. Stay strong heading into that 2nd corner, so it's Stay Strong and Maymo 1 and 2 as it stands. Who's the rider picking up 3? Looks like Dexter Beerup in the GY95 kit, bringing it towards the final turn. The 7 getting busy as well. That's Isaac Shaw trying to find a way into a top 3 spot, but he's now battling it out with Adam Stevenson on the 41 plate. Stevenson pushing to the line, can't quite get in front. He's going to have to settle for 5. Race number 24, more 15 open on track. Hard Knocks Bike Coaching leading the way at the moment. That is the 187 Evan Bartley. Looking good heading into turn number 2. He's going 1 and 2 with what looks like Ronnie Richards, who's picking up 3. That is Moto 1 coming on round. The 31 on the plates. Team A, Thomas Westmore chasing Richards out of the final turn. Can he get close enough? Richards going to hang on to 2. Bartley checked out of that moto. Race number 25 on track, more open 15. In and out of that 1st corner, Elvis Lawrence sticks the move on the 14 of Newton Hindley. Where's Nathaniel Eames, sorted race gear, new team, new bike, and he's sticking moves in that 2nd turn. Works his way from 4 to 3. The 11 plate just shuffled back. That's Harrison Barnes. He's in there in 4. Eames looking for a way round Hindley on the exit of turn number 3. It's Lawrence, Hindley, Eames 1, 2, 3. "15-year-old girls hit the track." Race number 26, Malkin, Millar, Patel, Jankuska, Dixon, Rowe, Grimm and Eaton. It is Pro Star leading this one out. Amelie Eaton on the 3 plate. She's going 1 and 2 with the 5 of Jalala Patel, doing it for Peckham BMX. The rider in there in 3 looks like it could be Moto 1. Katie Millar, your 1 plate from last year, national champion 2025, the 0-1 in there in the 4. That is your British champ from last year, Isabella Rowe, looking for a way around the national champ of last season. Can't quite find it. Millar, Rowe 3 and 4. Race 27 hits the track, more 15-year-old girls action heading into that 1st corner. Who's the rider on the inside? Looked like that could have been the 7 plate coming on round, Libby Coppin. Crucial Racing going 1 and 2 with Stay Strong as they bring it into turn number 2. That is Sidonie Cleve on the 4 plate. She's being chased down by SVT Mongoose. That's Ella Blue Chidley doing it for Bournemouth BMX. Who's the rider picking up for the queuing up behind her? Matilda Zaharev. Zaharev just gets passed around the outside. That looked like Evolve. Got to be Rin Janalino picking herself up. A top 4 finishes to bring it over the stripe. But your race winner, that was Libby Copping. 16-year-old boys hit the track in the Open 16 class. That is Cooper McCrum on the inside looking for a way around the 23 plate. Who leads the race? Ollie Terblanche, McCrum in that order as they go in and out of turn number 2. McSwitty's in there in 3. BMX Winner Photography got 2 riders in there in 2 and 3 as it stands. The 197 is in there in 4. That is Mason Kelly out of Andover. Your front 4 looking safe and clear in that order. Terblanche, picking up the race win. Race number 29, where is Wilcox? Good to see him back on track. Luke Wilcox, a former world finalist. Pretty sure he got multiple world finals actually. He's leading out this moto on the 799 plate Halo Wheels race team, going 1 and 2 with the 14 plate of Alex Dunkley, doing it for Evolve Collective. Sorted race gear, got a rider in there inside the top 3. That's Mason Groves. The front 3 riders gonna cross the line in that order. Wilcox picking up the win. Race 30, Bradley James on the inside, Reactive Racing, going to pick up the whole shot and the lead out of turn number 1. He's going 1 and 2 with the 8 plate as they come on through. That's Freddie Entwistle out of Manchester. He's being chased down by Fluent Bicycle Motocross. That's Oliver James on the 7 plate. The front 3 separating the gap now. The 52 is in there in 4. Mark Hewitt out of Bournemouth. Heading into the final corner, he's got the 858 right there with him. Out of Nuneaton, that was Dylan Powell looking for a way into a top 4 spot, chasing right the way down to the line. I think Powell might have just nicked it.
Right, moto number 31, these are the 16-year-olds, Kirby Jones, Davey Taylor, Seeley Shear and Noah Jones all in this one. That is Rab Racing's Lucas Seeley. Said he was feeling pretty good today, certainly looking at it at the moment as they head in towards turn number 2, picking up a whole shot and starting to extend his lead now over the rider on that 15 plate, who is Jack Giacomo. 18 is Ollie Kirby. Green Machine Tribe, he's in there in 3, but it is Lucas Seeley going past the Rab Racing tents and taking the win. Race 32, Boone, Mehar, Osborne, Cranich, Jamira, Mason and Freddie Franklin. Oh, Osborne goes the wrong side. So lap over for him, but it's Elijah Jamira. Again, Rab Racing looking to make it 2 from 2. Freddie Franklin chasing him down. Eden Boone, I think, on that template in there in that 3rd position. So Jamira to the line. Jamira, Franklin, Boone, Osborne. So on with the young ladies, the 16-year-olds. That is Lottie Brown, Absolute Bicycle Motocross. She was out in Teal last week, putting those laps in. Running the national champion sleeve, followed by the 7 and the 4, 7, 8. That'll be Eliza French and Emily Dean from Smiley's Fly Club. In there, 2 and 3, Lottie McFarlane. In 4, Jessie Measley. Working her way through as well with Felicity Brewer. Race 34, Gardner, Burge, Price, Watson, Glynn and Walford. In and out of the turn we go. I think that's Lucy Gardner. Out in front, Ailey Watson in there in 2. Nope, sorry. Tell a lie, it's Grace Burge. Doing it for Green Machine Tribe. I've got to get used to that kit yet. I'm not used to that one. 4th place was Summer Glynn from the Irish Connection. Race 35, 17 to 18-year-olds. Good to see Mr. Zach Twitchin back on track. So yeah, great stuff seeing him. Jaden Fawcett in there in 2, doing it for Hard Knocks Bike Coaching, chasing down Henry Eyre of Absolute Bicycle Motocross. Twitching in there in 3. And Angus Graham rounding out the 4. Oops, got a little bit tasty. Coming in and out of turn number 1, I think Stanley Palmer not getting the result that he wanted. Meanwhile, Finley Collis taking it down towards that final turn, being pursued by the 10 of Sam Townsend. Che Young in 3, Jake Hart going through as well. Star Racing's Lewis Collins Nimmo in the mix. It's all right. Thomas Miller, Thomas Doran, Amos Guppy in this one as well. Amos in 2. The 127 of Millar are leading it in and out of that final turn. Trying to pick out the rider in 3. It is the 7 of Thomas Doran. Charlie Somerville, Malachi Price, Joe Nunn, Charlie Granger in there as well. Race 38, Heath Smith, Blaine Kay, Mackie Pentonvoke and Lewis Cook. And powered by Flavor Flav Cakes and Rab Racing, Eli Smith in 1. Got the 7X of Kai Blaine trying to chase him down. Kai in there in 2. That's going to be Lewis Cook in 3. Rusty Nut Racing on the 1 for X. 14X is Joe Pentonvoke. but there's no catching Eli Smith to the line in moto number 38. Moto 39, we have got Sam Millington, Max Burgess, Jack de Jong, AJ Pritchard, Roberts, Nathan Baratta, Tommy Haddleton, and William Alfie Harrison pushing hard. Keep it going, William. We see you, buddy. He's in there in about 7th at the moment, giving it his all. 4X is Nathan Baratta, being chased down by Max Burgess as they go across the line. William Alfie Harrison bringing it to the stride with Tommy Haddleton as well. Both 17 to 18 year olds. We've got Flynn Drellincourt in this one. Doing it for Salted Race Gear, just making his move in that turn. Working his way in. Leaving the door slightly open, and will the 6 get in there? That was going to be Ollie Coppin. Not quite. Jaden Green in there in 3. Doing it for Allen's BMX and Supercross. Moving on, race 41. Alexis McCartney. Doing it for Salted Race Gear. Lucy Groundwater in there. Coming across from Ireland. Bethany Coates, Isla Radcliffe, Charlotte Stanley and Rosie O'Brien. Rosie in there in 3, doing it for BMX Widow Photography. But it's going to be Alexis and Isla going 1 and 2. Rosie in 3. As we move to race 42. Lucy Simpson, Esme Brooke in this one, going 1 and 3. The 11, that is Eleanor Curtis from Smiley's Flight Club. We've got Smiley Maloney in there as well. And on the 9 plate, Annabelle Charlton. Heading into that final turn. Out of Preston Pirates BMX Club. With Molly Simpson from Crank.
Race number 43 on track, 17 to 18 year old women heading towards that second corner. That is Sabina Ashman, Rusted Up Racing on the 11X plate, leading this one through. Going 1 and 2 with LVG NRT, Sophie Carniston doing it for Manchester BMX Club. That looks like it is Sophie Elwood, Crucial Racing inside the top 3, chasing Carniston down to the wire. Who's going to pick up the 2 spot on the line? Elwood nicked it. 19 to 29 year olds on track. We are going racing with your world number 4, ladies and gents. Maybo Factory Team UK, Tyrese Bradshaw going 1 and 2 with the 1 plate of George Gerard heading into the final corner. Hard Knocks Bike Coaching then in there in that 2 spot. That looks like Charlie Roy in there for 3. Sorted Race Gear going to round out the top 4 spots with Kenny Phillips. Race number 45 on track. Where's Jaden Seward? He's in this one in that 2 spot at the moment on the 8 plate, chasing down the 3X of Che Young, doing it for Fluent Bicycle Motocross. Dan Kay is up there in about 3 at the moment after having a bucket load of time off of his bike through injuries last season, so good to see him up on track. Picking up a 2 spot right round the outside. Chasing down your race leader, Jaden Seward, down to the wire. It is Seward K1 and 2. Ollie Cope on track, Hard Knocks Bike Coaching, 5 on the plate, going 1 and 2 with the 10 plate of Eddie Cannon's Wiz. Brett Dove in this one, heading into that second corner. He's in about 5 at the moment, looking for a way around the 13 plate of Oscar Matthew Cowlard. The 020 of Theodore Peterkin out of Pekka BMX. He's up to the top 3, chasing Cannons down the final straight. It's going to be Cannons, Peterkin, 2 and 3 over the line with Cope out front. Savage Racing on track. Brindley Savage, your world number 8, leading out race number 47 in the 19 to 29 year olds. Brindley got his own race team this season and he's absolutely flying in this moto. It looks like we've got 2 riders out of Stay Strong going through in 2 and 3. Carl Strickland in there in 3, Alfie backs for 2, and that looked like Ben Fitzsimmons picking up a top 4 spot. 19 to 29 year old women heading towards that first corner. Looks like Savage Racing on the inside, your world number 5, going to lead this one in and out of that first turn. So it is Annabelle Townsend going 1 and 2 with the 1X of Megan Gerard out of Rab Racing. Maybo Factory Team UK in there in that 2 spot. 3, sorry, that is Izzy Hurry. Being chased down though by the 17 plate as they head towards the final turn. Morgan Haslam doing it for Sorted Race Gear. Tilly McCrum is in this one as well. Chopping and diving in the final turn, battling it out with the 6 plate as they bring it down to the line. I think that was Fiona Barry out of the Titans. Ice bikes on track, 3X on the plate, 14 plate in there in that 2-spot post. Start in there in 3, that's Hannah Drew picking up a top 3 spot as it stands. Retro Racing got 2 ladies in this one. In 4 and 5, that's Amy Willards being chased down by Ella Lamb on the 7X, but it is Jetska Hemstock out front leading this moto at the moment, being chased down by the 14 of Molly Nice. Hannah Drew gonna have to settle for a top 3 spot as Nice hangs on to 2 at the line. More 19 to 29-year-old women on track, the 5 on the plate leading this one out. Remy Godfrey doing it for Stay Strong. Going 1 and 2 with Green Machines, Megan Kirby on the 9 plate. That looks like Olivia Firth in there in 3 on the 12. Doing it for Sorted Race Gear, being chased down by your British champ, Rebecca Gold. Doing it for Absolute. The front 4 ladies checked out of this race, and it is going to be a Stay Strong out front with a moto win. Masters on track, who's out front? Got to be the 1 plate from last year, Billy Luckhurst. Leading this one through. Looking good, going 1 and 2 with Crucial Gang. Crucial got a couple of riders in this one, going through in 2 and 4. That looks like Matt Bourne in there inside the top 4, chasing down George Higley in there in 3. And the 2 spot, got to be Tom Palmer as they take it across the line. Race number 52 on track with Sean Essett. He's in there in 3. He is the BMX Hype team manager, chasing down the 204, who's just in front of him at the moment. That is Connor Hudson doing it for Halo Wheels Race Team, but your race leader is Mr. Brazil, Adam Brazil. Looking good heading into the final turn. In and out they go. Sean is going to round out the top 3 spots as he's chased down by Smiley's Flight Club. That was Mitchell Smith. Vets on track, Ubery, Vries, Kennedy, Moore, Beaumont, Smith, Boudet and Salmond. Scott Boom Boom Beaumont leading this one out, the 96 podcast. Looking good at the front of the pack with the 3 plate chasing him down. Zoltan Boudet, SVT Mongoose. That's going to be your front 2 riders as they bring it down the final straight. The 823 Mark Rees in there for the top 3 finish. Race number 54. Ben Martin in this one. On the 182 plate, that looks like the 5 in the middle of the pack. Danny Taylor going neck and neck with the 7 of Hayden Torora. Out of Dragon Riders, but your race leader got to be Moto 1. That is John Lillingston on the 4X, being chased down there by the 1 plate of Matt Barnard, doing it for Stay Strong. In and out of the final corner to go. Barnard in there for 2, Lillingston out front. It is going to be Taylor rounding out the podium positions. Right, Grand Veterans are up on track. Jason Lewis, Brixton BMX Club with those very familiar mag wheels out there. Battling away with Alan Hill and Brett Knight. The 323 in there in that 4th spot. That belongs to Justin Somerville out of Bournemouth BMX Club. Goss Sports rider in there is Daniel Curry George. And the 742 is Andrew O'Hare from Team Mind and Runnymede. Like myself, a big Beastie Boys fan. We share the same taste in music. Some people might say we've got no taste at all, but we know difference. Next up, we got in this one. That is Christus Chalkos, the Warlock in the in 3, Ian Milne in 4. And out front on the 2, that's going to be Brett Archibald in Ben Fitzsimmons jersey. Not confusing enough. Where is the Warlock? He's in there in 3. Come on, Warlock, all the way to the line. Just about held it off from Ian Milne. Right, next up, Evolved Bicycle Motocross. That is Stuart Little. He's got Dave Knowles, Neil Waddington, Patrick Graham, Ante Bogadich, and Craig Bryan to deal with. Dave Knowles in there in 3. That's Neil Waddington in there in 2. They are chasing Stuart Little of Evolved Bicycle Motocross to the line. As we move to the top of the big hill and Championship Women. All right, Championship Women weight. Alonso Hook, Gaynor Seaward and Elsa Rendell Todd heading down towards that first turn. Who's going to be the first to show? Oh, looks like Lexi Wade picking up the whole shot
in there in 1. 308 trying to get involved. That's Emily Hutch just nicking up the inside. Is she going to get it? No, she isn't. So Lexi Way showing the girls the way to go as they head down towards that final corner. In and out we go. Is she going to hold on to it to the line? Will Emily catch her at the stripe? Lexi takes the win. Emily for 2. Right, next up, Marriott, Chalice, Roy, Cadman, Carpenter, Carruthers and Webster. And doing it for Mabel, in and out of that first turn, Freya, the Slayer, Chalice. Going through, we won the 013. That belongs to Jumping. Jess Marriott, good to see her back on it. She's in there in 2-1, right blows the pedal. Got a feeling that was Evie Webster. Stayed upright though, which is always a good thing. Lorianne Carruthers in there in 5th. So it's going to be Freya the Slayer taking it to the line. Big charge from Annalise Cadman Carpenter. Picking up the 3, Megan Roy in the 4. Right, hold on to your hats, people. Junior Open heading down the hill. Heath Thomas in the middle. Cody Coker on the inside. Heading into first turn. Oh, it's getting busy, busy, busy. Elbows are already banging. That looks like absolute bicycle motocross. Lucas Webster in there in 3, pushing hard. JTL Simpson Davis in 4, but Heath Thomas doing it for Pro Start. He's got Cody Coker on his back wheel as they come out of the turn. Thomas, Coker, Webster, Davis. That is your 1, 2, 3 and 4. Phillips, Tomlinson and Rayner. Second rack of Junior Open heading down the hill. Kai Bowen, James Clitheroe, Hard Knocks Bike Coaching, picking up the whole shot. Ty DS in this one. He's in there in 3 at the moment. The rider out of Maple going through is Noah Everly. In there in 4. Got Ben Larkins and Sean Brown in the mix as well. But it's Clitheroe into the final turn. Hard Knocks Bike Coaching bringing it to the line. Kai Bowen for Stay Strong in 2. Everly in 3. Ty DS with the 4. First rack of Superclass heading down the hill. Ben Cornish in the middle. That looks like George Hunt on the inside as well. On Esselbon, Casey Barkley. Oh! 2 riders down in the first turn. It's all gone pear-shaped. Hopefully everybody's up and okay. Meanwhile, George Hunt is taking it into the final corner. Bradley Russell in there in 2. Cornish in 3. Harrison Bell in 4. The 100 of Arne Esselbon picked himself up. He's okay. And Casey Markley on the floor, but now up and okay. Last rack of Superclass. O'Gorman on the inside, Gilston on the outside, moving over. It's already getting tight. The elbows were flying. Finley Hoff nearly got locked up halfway down that first straight. But it is Gilston and Martin 1 and 2. O'Gorman in 3. Finley Hoff in there in 4. Ruben Byrne on the E6 trying to get involved as well as they head towards that final turn. Gilston bringing it down to the stripe. Marnham's going to get the 2. Gilston, Marnham, O'Gorman and Finn Hoff. Wow, wow, wow. Right, round 1 of motos done. Moving on to round 2 as soon as humanly possible, folks.
We are ready to go racing with the second rack of motos. Block number 2.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
Race number 64 hits the track. The 13-year-old open class heading for the first turn. The one plate gonna pick up the whole shot. James Bibby, Pro Star BMX on an absolute charge. He's going 1 and 2 with the 14 plate of Zach Hamill doing it for retro racing. That looks like Charlie Cotton in there in 3, repping the sorted race gear colours. Who's in 4? Adrian Galitis doing it for Moto 1 book off race team. But it's all about Pro Star at the moment. James Bibby on an absolute charge. Going to pick up his second win of the day as he takes it across the line in race 64. Into that first turn they go, Emil Challenger on the 21 plate leading this one out. The 15 in there with him, that is Samuel Richards doing it for Green Machine Tribe. That is the 69 plate Mason Jones out of Cardiff BMX Club, under a bit of pressure though. That's the exit turn number 2. Telford Flyer's got a rider in there as well. That is the 440 plate of Deaglan alone. In and out of that final corner they go. It looks like the move has come from the 36 plate Niall O'Kindy. He's gone from 4 to 3, going to take it across a line. On the inside into that first corner, that looked like it was Harrison Doe out of Reactive Racing, and he's worked his way up into a top 3 spot, chasing down the 24 plate of Noah Ford out of Braintree BMX. Looks like Team Bunnies have got a rider in there as well, Kieran Brownson out of Doncaster BMX, but your race leader, the 640 plate of Lucas Gomez Sands out of Runnymede Rockets. He leads this one out. Looks like Smiley's Fly Club have got a rider in there as well. Cody Hughes, he's shuffled back from 2 to 4 as Reactive Racing's Harrison Doe picks up the 2. Maybo Factory race team on track, leading them out is the 8 plate Jack Devine. Looking good at the moment. Braintree got a rider in there in 3. That is Zach Parsons on the 25 plate. He's chasing down MK Evolution as they come on through. That's Noah Bagwell on the 28 plate. The 26 of Akin Brazia inside the top 4, heading into the final turn and back out again. MK Evolution got another rider in this one, bringing it down the final straight. That's Oliver Taylor on the 17 plate. He's in there in about 6. Next up on track, race number 68, Kimber, Mullen, Hughes, Sheffy, Everly, Rook and Knight. That's the 10 plate out from Marcus Mullen, Fluent Bicycle Motocross. Stay strong, BMX right there with him. Joe Rook on the 4 plate, that's how they're going to bring it across the line. Good to see Zach Everly picking up a 3 spot after his crash in Moto at number 1. Race 69, Archie Croker White, Jack Laughlin, Archie Bell, Ishan Rathor, Harry Swales, Isaac Smith and Leo Rowlands. No Leo in this one after his tumble in his first race. Let's hope that he's all right and we see him again tomorrow. It is the 3 plate though, leading this one out. Archie Croker White, Absolute Bicycle Motocross, Reactive Racing in there behind him. It looks like Jack Laughlin on the 22 plate. He's being chased down by the 6 of Archie Bell for CGR. Race 70 on track. Who's the rider on the outside trying to make it happen? Reactive Racing on the inside. Rab Racing and Reactive were elbow to elbow on the exit of that first corner. That was Lucas Belton who's picked up the 3 spot. But your race leader, Jump Club S&M Source, Ronnie Payne, the 7 plate in there behind him. That is Leighton Harding. It was a Tajamira out of Rab Racing. He's picked up a top 4 spot as it stands. But across the line, Ronnie Payne dominating race at number 70. Next moto on track. 13-year-old girls heading in towards that first corner. Grace Gerard, Hard Knocks bike coaching, but the move came in that first corner from the 8 plate. Working her way through, that is Elsie Blight doing it for Absolute. So it's Absolute and Hard Knocks 1 and 2. Green Machine in there in 3. That looks like Poppy Bay Kirby on the 11 plate, who's picking up 4. Rusted Up Racing, they've got a rider in there. That is Lily Mae Gould out of Decoy BMX on the 19 plate. Look at the scrap out front though. Blight, Gerard down the final straight. Who's going to hold on to that 1 spot? Blight and Gerard right the way across the line. I think Blight might have hung on. Yes, she did. Pure Bicycles out on track in the next moto. That is Iris Hyder, European number 5, and leading out the pack with a big old gap to the rider in there in 2. That is Samaya Hughes. Leading it away for the Irish contingent. Who's in there for 3? Looks like that could be the 6 plate of Seren Pritchard. Didn't recognise Seren. Race 73, more 13-year-old girls on track. Dyson, Cunnison, Martin, Harries, Mackie and Hewitt. Freya Harries out front, your world number 7. Looking good, heading towards that final turn. The 11 plate in there with her. Evie Dyson out of the Bradford Bandits. Paige Cathcart Cunnison inside the top 3, doing it for Savage Racing, being chased down by Amelia Martin out of the Irish contingent. The 2 on the plate leading out the next moto. That is, of course, Brooke Fast Fawcett, Hard Knocks Bike Coaching. She's going 1 and 2 with sorted race gears. Elizabeth Lonapool at the moment. That looks like we've got the 19X plate in there as well. Gotta be Poppy Bishop out of Halo Wheels Race Team, looking for a way round. Your European at number 7, Elizabeth Lonapool, not quite going to find it. Paul hangs on to that 2 spot. Bishop in 3. 14-year-old boys out on track then. Bodie Markley in this one. He's in 5 at the moment, chasing down the 22 plate of Henry Potts, doing it for the Brunty crew. He's in there in that 4 spot, just behind the rusting up rider. That's got to be Gilmore Green. Yes, it is. In and out of that final turn. Your race leader, though, Pro Star BMX. Freddie Parkinson going to pick it up across the line with Roland Ells in there for 2.
Right, moving on. We are looking at JP, Jack Perkins. Hard Knocks Bike Coaching out there in front at the moment. Being chased down by the 11 plate. That belongs to Harry Tyres. Harry in that 2nd spot. Oliver Arnold, Smiley's Flight Club in 3. But it's JP taking it to the line. 31.263. Nice time there, Jack. As we move on, coming in and out of that turn. That'll be the 8 plate in there in 2. Max Vass doing it for Savage Racing. Max McNulty for the Evolve Collective out there in front. And the 24 and the 21. Charlie Wilcox and Lawrence Bojang. That is your 1, 2, 3 and 4. Evolve Bicycle Motocross in 5. Sorry, Absolute Bicycle Motocross, Riley Butts. Right, moving on. Race 78, James Millar. These are your 14-year-olds. Toby Duff, Harry Holmes in there. Ethan Crooks Martin in there in that 2nd spot, doing it for Hot Shots. The 35 is Jamie Turblanche, Milton Keynes. With the Nottingham rider Darwin Shepherd, I think in that 4th position. As we move on to race 79. Ethan Howell. That's Charlie Bob Craig in there in 2. Preston's rider going through in 3. He's Finian Turner Smith. Adam Arnold in 4, the 33. He's Harley Steele from 01 Racing. Sam Dolan's in there for Brumwood as well. And Evan Davey from Cornwall. Race 80, Cartwright, Hoff, Messaby, Sowerby, Twazadilo, Fox Cooper and Joe Douglas. Xavi in there in about 4th spot at the moment. Mark Twazadilo out in front. Joe Douglas in there in 2. That's Reactive Racing's Ralph Sowerby rounding out the top 3. My mate Jude the Dude in there as well. Aboard that lovely Maybell that he rides. Race 81. Anushka Jones in there in that 3rd spot. Clara Salmon, Emma Kiss, Naira O'Connell. BMX Widow Photography, Lily Yerbury, Martha Cottam, Georgia Surtees and Ruby Warren. Ruby chasing down Emma into that final turn. Pretty much elbow to elbow. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Who's going to get it? Absolute Bicycle Motocross, Emma Kiss. Just from Ruby Warren, Martha Cottam. A strong 3rd place performance. Yeah, that's fine. I'll stop at like 85 or something. I'll do 85. Right, Esme Ward doing it for Stay Strong. In there we've got Isabella Gerard, Hard Knocks Bike Coaching. In there in that 4th spot, but she's got 2 riders in front of her, including Braintree's Molly Fumey, Carol and Holly Diver. As we watch the 15s kick into gear, that's going to be Evan Bartley, the Irish connection of Hard Knocks Bike Coaching, heading down towards that final turn. 47 is Braden Duffy. Braden's out of Royston. Evan taking it to the line. in there in 1, Bruce Anthony in 3, Benjamin Dean in 4. As we look at moto number 84, Robin Mattern Alonso in this one. Having a better lap this time around, he's in there in 3. Chasing down the familiar figure of Nate Hamilton. Doing it for Mabo. But he's got one rider in front of him, and that is Oliver Tyres. Race 85, before I hand you on to Lewis, Jewel, Hindley, Young, Richards, Moore, Bearup, Lawrence and Shenton. Pretty stacked this moto at the moment. It's the 2 teamer guys going in and out of that second turn. Hindley and Jewel. 1 and 2. Dexter Bearup in there as well. And Ronnie Richards. But it's the 2 teamer guys taking it to the line. It's going to be Hindley and Jewel.
Race number 86 on track, heading towards that first corner, and it is going to be Elvis Lawrence out of Stay Strong leading it through. Who's there with him? Looks like the template out of A-Star Racing, that is Brody Geddes, but he's being chased by the 36 of Freddie Warwork out of Hard Knocks Bike Coaching. That's your front 3 as they go in and out of turn number 2. Who's picking up the 4? That is the 34 plate of Caden Thompson. Doing it for Peterborough Phantoms along with Rustin Up Racing in there as well. That's Eddie Millington. He's in there in 5, putting the pressure on Thompson down the final straight. Millington's going to pick up that 4 spot as he take it across the line. Race 87 heading into that first corner. It's getting busy and it is Sorted Race Gear going 1 and 4, and that is Lynch out in front of the pack. Who's there with him? Got to be the 4 plate as he come on through. Heath Osborne out of MK. He's being chased through by the 7. Doing it for Pro Star BMX. That's Isaac Shaw with Nathaniel Eames. Doing it for Sorted Race Gear in there in 4. In and out of the final corner they go. Sorted looking good to go through 1 and 4 with Osborne in there for 2. Race 88 heading into that first corner. Who's picking up the whole shot? Looks like that could be Ned Guppy out of Absolute Bicycle Motocross. Who's that there with him? Looks like we've got James Cottrell on the 3 plate doing it for Rab Racing. Absolute, Rab and Stay Strong in that order. The W2 is Kobe Rayford tripling into the final turn as smooth as you like. That's how they're going to bring it across the line with Guppy out in front. 15-year-old girls hit the track out of the gate. Who's that on the inside looking to pick up the whole shot? It's going to be Rin Giannolino all the way from lane number 7. Made it happen as she worked her way across on the 2 plate, doing it for Evolve Collective. She's being chased down by the 5 plate of Jalala Patel out of Peckham BMX. The rider in there in 3 is Livy Copping, doing it for Crucial Racing. Pro Star BMX in there in 4, that is Isabella Rowe. Being chased on through by the 17 of Ella Blue Chidley, SVT Mongoose, but it's all out front with Evolve. That is Rin Giannolino picking up that moto win. Race number 90 on track, 15-year-old girls, Pro Start BMX, Moto 1 muck-off, that is your 1 and 2. Katie Millar in there in that 2 spot, being chased down by Stay Strong, picking up the 3, that is Sidonie Cleve, but your race leader, Emily Eaton, of course, on the 3 plates. Smooth as you like through the 3rd straight. Looking to pick up another Moto win to add to her collection today, 2 for 2. That's going to be your 1, 2, 3, looks like Green Machine in there for 4, being pushed all the way down to the line, that is a fire pick. 16 open then on track, the 4 on the plate leading this one out. That's got to be Bradley James. Where is Elijah Jamira? He's in there in that 2 spot doing it for Rab Racing. Oliver James in there as well doing it for Fluent Bicycle Motocross. Looks like we've got an MK rider in the mix. That is the 23 of Ollie Blanche. In and out of that final corner they go. Bradley James, Elijah Jamira, they're going to go through in them first 2 spots. Oliver James rounding out the podium positions. Race number 92, Malachi Lloyd, David Mayer, Jake Asher, Dylan Jones, Mason Kelly, Khalil Baptiste and Alex Dunkley. The 25 plate leading this one out. That is, of course, David O'Prey and Mayer. Under all sorts of pressure there from the round of Evolve Collective. That's Alex Dunkley trying to find a way through to go from 2 to 1. He's battling it out down this 3rd straight and he's made his way around the outside. It looks like we've got a rider out of 0-1 Racing. That is Malachi Lloyd inside the top 3 down the final straight. David O'Prey going to pick up that 2 spots. As we move on to race number 93, Stan Mason in this one. RTR Resilient Team Racing. That is the 31 plate. He's in there in 5 at the moment, chasing down the rider out of sorted. Race gear, it got busy into turn number 2. That was Mason Groves, who just about managed to keep it upright. He's in there behind the 16 plate of Ollie Kirby. Green Machine Tribe, but your race leader, of course, bringing it down that final straight. Freddie Entwistle doing it for Manchester BMX. He's going to pick up that race win. Race 94, where's Cooper McCrum? He's on the inside with his teammate Eric McSwitty, who's going to pick up the 4 spot. It's going to be McCrum. McSwitty looking to chase him down. Exits right onto the pro section, so it is Rab Racing in the lead at the moment. Lucas Seeley on the 3. After he got all sorts of busy in Moto 1 and ended up on the pro section himself, it's the 6 plate in there in behind him. Lucas Osborne out of MK. He's being chased down the final straight. Savage Racing picking up a top 3 spot. That is Eden Boone on the 10.
Right, Moto number 95, Taylor Powell, Franklin Shear, Wilcox and Cranage in and out of turn number 1. Halo Wheels, Luke Wilcox, good to see him back on track. That is Freddie Franklin in there in 2. Who else have we got in there? Finley Cranage, I think, in that 3rd position. No, Dylan Powell, it might be, actually. Got a feeling it's Dylan on the 34. It is Harry Taylor on that 144 plate. Just a couple of spots behind him as they go in and out of that final corner, but Luke Wilcox, Freddie Franklin, both looking good in race 95. Race 96, Burge, Brewer, McFarlane, Brown, Price and Watson. These are the 16-year-old girls going in and out of that first turn. Green Machine Tribes, Grace Burge out in front. Got some pressure coming though from Lottie Brown right there next to her. Ellie Watson in there in 3. The rider going through in 4. I've got a feeling that is Itana Price out of Peckham BMX. Lottie McFarlane and Felicity Brewer. Big battle to the line. Grace Burge just hanging on to it. Lottie Brown in there for 2. Race 97. Leasley, Dean, Walford, French, Gardner and Summer Glynn. Summer in there in that 3rd spot, representing the Irish Mastiff, just making a move on Eliza French into the corner. Lucy Gardner out front. Jessie Leasley in there as well, pushing hard. But it's going to be Gardner, Glynn, 1 and 2 of the line. French in 3. And Ruby Walford in there in 4. Right, the 7 plate belongs to Thomas Doran, 148 Racing. Out there in front. Being chased down by Ollie Coppin and the 9 plates. That belongs to Finley Collis. So there's a posse of Southwest riders chasing down Thomas Doran. Did he hold it to the line? Yes, he did. Zach Twitchin in there in 4. Sam Hamblin in 5. As we move on to race number 99. That looks like Jaden Fawcett, Hard Knocks Bike Coaching. Out there in front, Lewis Collins Nimmo. In the mix as well, Astar Racing. There's been a change at the front though. Fawcett just giving up that position. Might have even given up 2. Barata taking it. Smith in 2. Fawcett in 3. Price in 4. As we look at the 127 of Thomas Millar. Being pursued by Jake Hart in and out of that final turn. Rider going through in 3, not quite sure who it was. Kai Blaine was in there, it was Malachi O'Reilly, Sam Townsend, John O'Harity and Kai Blaine, and William Alfie Harrison. Joe Penton Volk doing it for Rusty Nut Racing. We've got an absolute bicycle motocross rider going in and out of that turn. That's going to be Henry Eyre. Jaden Green in there in 2. Charlie Granger in 3. Sorry, Stanley Palmer, Charlie Granger, and Joe Penton Volk. Race 102. Thomas Kay, Reese Toole, Max Burgess, Ethan Abbott, Jack Clark, Charlie Somerville, and Angus Graham. It's Burgess and Toole taking it down to the final corner. 01 Racing's Jack Clark, he's in there with a solid 3rd place. Charlie Somerville out of Bournemouth as well. But it was Angus Graham picking up the 4th. Lynn Drellincourt, sorted race gear. Scrapping away with Amos Guppy. Two very talented young riders heading down that 3rd straight. That'll be Lewis Cook in 4 with the 19. Over Oscar Stanbury. He's in 4. We also had Jack de Jong in there as well. Race 104, Teresa McConnell, Molly Simpson. It's Sabina Ashman doing it for Rusty Nut Racing, out there in front at the moment. Rosie O'Brien in that 4th spot. Eleanor Curtis in 2, being pursued by Isla Radcliffe. Molly Simpson doing it for Crank and Teresa McConnell out of Bangor City BMX Club. But it's Sabina Ashman crossing that line first in race 104. 105. Annabelle Charlton, Lucy Simpson, Sophie Elwood. Out in front, Alexis McCartney. In there in 3, Adele Veruti in there as well. Out of Peckham. Feels like an age since I've seen Adele on track, but she's there. She's in that 4th spot. Bethany Coates as well, out of Decoy. But it's going to be Sophie, Lucy, Alexis, your top 3.
Race 106 on track. Sophie Carniston leading this one through for LVG NRT. Maybo Factory Team at UK in there in that 2 spot with Esme Brooke. Bringing it in towards that final corner. It looks like we have got Lucy Groundwater on the 10X inside the top 3, bringing it across the line. Race 107, 19 to 29-year-olds heading into that 2nd corner. Cal Strickland repping the Stay Strong colours in there in that 2 spot behind your world number 4, Tyrese Bradshaw. Maybo Factory Team UK, Hard Knocks Bike Coaching, George Gerard in there inside the top 3. Ben Fitzsimmons on a late charge, going to work his way from 5 to 4. In behind Gerard in 4. One rider hits the deck. I think that might have been Kenny Phillips. Yes, it was. Brinley Savage, Ollie Cope. That's your 1 and 2. Put your hands together for Kenny Phillips, ladies and gents. Might need a bit of bike TLC before we go to round number 3. Race 109, here's the track, more 19 to 29-year-old action coming your way. That is Alfie Bax leading it into the turn. Where's Dan Kay? Works his way around the outside and he's picking up that 2 spot. In behind him is the 21 plate. That is Alex Taylor out of Manchester. So that's your front 3 as it stands. CGR in there as well. Luke Davis-Hayes got the Maxis move of the day earlier on. Our first one to deal out of the weekend, and he's flying at the moment inside the top 4. Heading down to the line, it is Bax picking up the race win. 3 riders out of Peckham BMX in this one. Theodore Peterkin on the 020 plate, leading this one through. Looks like Dexter Gambay in there in that 2 spot. Where is the club mate? He's in there in about 5 at the moment on the 10X. That is Alamin Akareli in and out of the final turn. Eddie Cannon's on the 10. He's going to round out the top 3. Who's in there for 4? That is Josh Wallace out of Halo Wheels. 19 to 29-year-old women are in race number 111, heading towards that first corner. Stay Strong picking up the whole shot. That is Remy Godfrey on the 5 plate. Been putting in some work over the winter by the looks of things. She's absolutely charging today into turn number 2. Who's that in there in the 2 spot? It looks like we've got Sorted Race Gears Olivia Firth just about fending off the attack from Izzy Hurry out of Team Mamo Factory Team. Tilly McCrum in there in 4. Who's the rider in 5? Amy Willets out of Retro Racing. BMX Widow Photography then in there in that 4 spot, but Remy Godfrey running away with her race. As we look at race 112, the 9 plate leading this one out, Green Machine. That is Megan Kirby, Decoy BMX, Pro Start BMX in there in that 2 spot. That is Hannah Drew on the 3 plate. Looks like we've got the 6 plate in there as well. Imogen Gibson out of Manchester. And that is Sorted Race Gear in there in 4. Morgan Haslam in and out of the final turn. The front 4 ladies running away with this one. Hannah Drew putting the pressure on down to the line. It's going to be Kirby hanging on. Race 113 on track. Yetska Hemstock in there in that 3 spot. Megan Gerard on the 1X in there in 2. But your race leader Savage Racing. Your world number 5 Annabelle Townsend checking out at the moment as they bring it into the final turn. The 14 plate is in there in 4. That is Molly Nice. Race 114, Masters hit the first turn. Check these guys out. Tom Palmer leading it out. Crucial Racing stays strong in there behind him. Billy Lucas looking for a way through, and he's on the inside into that second corner. He's just about managed to squeeze it through. Where is George Higley? He's in there in that 3 spot, just being shuffled back as Connor Hudson makes his move. Looks under the inside. And Palmer in the final turn didn't dive under. Lucas, Palmer in that order. Hudson for 3, Higley in 4. Crank BMX coaching in 5, that was Christopher Granger. Second rack of Masters hits the track, heading in towards that first corner. Gonna be out of Brazil. Just as much finesse as the Brazilian footballers, and he's out there in that 1 spot at the moment. He's going 1 or 2 with his teammate, that is Matthew Bourne. Shawnee sits in there in 3, Mr. BMX Hive. He's being chased down there by the 7 plate of David James out of Green Machine. The 13 in this one as well, that's Darren Utley, along with Romney Wybro Parker doing it for Preston Pirates, but it is Crucial Racing 1 and 2. Vets hit the track, race 116, who's on the inside, heading towards the first turn. Scott Bohm on the 96 podcast, he leads this one out with the whole shot in that first corner. The 3 plate in there behind him. Zoltan Bude doing it, gets it all a little bit wrong as they enter turn number 2. SVT Mongoose just about hanging on to that 2 spot at the moment. Danny T's right there with him, looking for a way round for Crucial Racing. The 10 plate in there in 4. That is Mark Moore doing it for Jump Club S&M Source. He's under a bit of pressure from the 7 down the final straight of Hayden Aurora. He's going to hang on to the 4 though, with Danny T in there for 3. Second rack of the Vets. Where's Matt Barnard? He's at the front of the pack on that 1 bike. Looking good for Stay Strong. Who's in there with him? Looks like Moto 1 Muck-Off. That is John Lillingston, Ipswich BMX. The 3 spot is the 823 plate Mark Vries. Being chased down by the 8 into the final turn. Grant Yerbury looking for a way round. Team Air in there for that 5. That is George Salmond, but it's all about Barnard out front with Lillingston.
Right, moving on to Moto 118, Justin Somerville in this one, but look at the hole shot from the Warlock. Oh my word, out in front, giving it the beans. Daniel Kerry George in there in 2, Somerville in 3, Matthew Knight in there as well, and Craig Bryan. But pure bicycles. Neil Stewart, he's like 1996 all over again. He's going to take the Moto win. Hey, he says, as he goes down the last straight. Nice one, Warlock. Oh dear. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, funny. I love Neil. He's just so hilarious. Right, Alan Hill, Brett Knight, Dave Knowles, Ian Milne, 2 other geezers, Patrick Graham, and Neil Cheney. Oh dear, it's already getting a very little bit loose down here, shall we say, as we look at some bloke from Scotland, Brett Archibald, that's his name. Yeah, couldn't remember that for a split second. He's out there in front. Christos Chalkos, wow, in there in 2, Stuart Little in 3, Jason Lewis in 4, Neil Waddington in 5, and Andrew O'Hare in 6. Right, Championship women heading down the hill. There's no Elsa Rendell Todd in this one. Oh, that's getting a little bit scary-berry as they come out of that first turn. It was all very close. It's the 06. Oh! Evie Webster. Let's just make sure she's... Oh, that's a big bang. Right, we're just going to get Evie looked after. Taya Gaynor in there in 1. Megan Roy, Annalise Cadman-Carpenter. Wow, wow, wow. All right, we hope Evie's all right. All right, second racket championship women heading down the hill. Hook, Carruthers, Chalice, Wait, Roy and Anya, Matt and Alonso. Into the turn we go. Freya the Slayer, Emily Hook going 1 and 2. Lexi's right there with them though in 3. That is Megan Roy in there in 4. Lorianne Carruthers in 5. Anya, Matt and Alonso in 6. But it's Mabel versus Speedco as they come into that final turn. This one's not done yet. Emily's right on Freya's back wheel as they bring it to the line. It's going to go Chalice, Holt, Lexi Wait, 1, 2, 3. Megan Roy in 4, Lorianne Carruthers in 5.
Race 1, 2, 3, here's the track. Junior Open heading towards the first turn. That looks like Ben Larkins on the inside for Pure Bicycles. Where's Kai Bowen? He's making moves, working his way into that 2 spot. It's getting busy through the pro section. On the inside, looks like Harvey Tomlinson didn't quite make his stick. Moto 1 then in there in 3, gotta be Finn Phillips. So it is Larkins, Bowen, 1 and 2. Phillips in there for 3. Cody Coker in there for the 4 spots.
Right, Junior Open second rack. Oh, it's already getting tasty in the middle of that pack. We could hear the action unfolding as we watch James Clitheroe, Hard Knocks Bike Coaching, and Heath Thomas going 1 and 2. JTL Simpson Davis in 3. Ty DS absolutely on it. He's in there in 4 at the moment, but coming under pressure from Everly and... oh, was trying to pick out that other rider. Couldn't quite click who it was. Meanwhile, Clitheroe taking it at the line. Heath Thomas, JTL Simpson Davis, Ty DS.
Penultimate moto for the second set. These are your first rack of Superclass men. Oh! It all went wrong through the quad. Matt Gilston hits the deck. Josh Marnham on S1. That's your 1 and 2. Danny O'Gorman in 3. Casey Margley for the second time today. Gerson looking into turn number 1. Let's hope that he's all right. He's back up on his feet. Put your hands together for Ben Cornish, ladies and gents. Josh Marnham picks up the race win. Matt Gilson as well. Once again, put your hands together for Matt Gilson, Ben Cornish and Casey Marley. Right, last moto of round number 2. Bell Hoffman, Russell Hughes and George Hunt into the turn we go. Bradley Russell, George Hunt 1 and 2. Finley Hoff working his way around the outside. He's into 3. That's Harrison Bell in there in 4. Miller Hughes in 5. But it's all about the guy in the British Champions jersey heading out towards that final corner. Bradley Russell. In and out he goes. George Hunt now under pressure from Finley Hoff. Can he catch him at the line? LCC hanging on for 2. Finn Hoff for 3, Bell and Hughes. We are back round to the start of the motos, round number 3.
Clear riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
Race number 127 hits the track open, 13-year-olds looking into turn number 1. That is Jack Devine on the inside, but stay strong. Race team leading this one out. Joe Rook on the 4 plate, going 1 and 2 with the 8 of Devine. Heading for that second corner. Charlie Cotton sorted race gears in there for 3. Who's picking up the 4? Looks like we've got Team Mines Louis Sheffy in there. It is the Moto 1 muck-off rider though on the 12 of Adrian Galitis. He's rounding out the top 4 spots at the moment. Under pressure though from Brixton's Emil Challenger. Challenger's going to have to set up for 5 as Galitis picks up the 4. James Bibby on track, leading out race 128. He's going 1 and 2 with the 10 plate. The fluid bicycle motocrossers Marcus Mullen as they bring it into turn number 2. 2 riders out of Rab Racing in there as well. That has got to be Isaac the Sender Smith and Itai Jamira in that order, picking up 3 and 4. Oh, Jamira gets it all sorts of wrong through the 3rd straight. I've no idea how he kept that one up right, but he's going to pick up the 4 spot as Bibby takes the race win. On the inside into turn number 1, that is Zach Everly chasing down your race leader on the 9 plate. Got to be Ronnie Payne. Jump Club S&M Source. That's your 1 or 2 as they pick up that second corner. Reactive Racing in there as well. That's Jack Laughlin on the 22 plate being chased down by the 25 of Zach Parsons, doing it for Braintree. Another reactive rider in there as well. That is Harrison Doe on the 31 plate. He's going to pick up a 5 spot as Ronnie Payne takes a race win. Fast Signature's got a rider on track in the next moto. He's being chased down by the 30 plate as they bring it through the 2nd straight. That is Finley Murphy doing it for Nuneaton. Latvian jersey in there as well. That is Albert Alazans on the 27 plate. Looking good inside the top 3. The 28 in there in 4. Noah Bagwell out of MK Evolution. But his Fast Signatures out front on the 13 plate, picking up the race win. Harry Swales. That looks like one of the Harding brothers on track. DC Cycles leading out this race. The 6 plate in there behind him. That is looking like Archie Bell doing it for CGR. Braintree have got a rider inside the top 3. Noah Ford on the 24 plate. The 36, Niall Elkindi, he's in there in 4, but it's all about DC at the moment. Harding going to pick up that race win as he takes it across the line. Reactive Racing on the inside into turn number 1. That's the 55 plate of Lucas Belton. 2 riders hit the deck on the exit of turn number 1. One of the riders out of Cardiff, that was Mason Jones. I think the other rider might have been Ishan Rathor. Yes, it was. Put your hands together for Ishan. Lucas Belton, though, being pushed all the way to the line by Retro Racing's Zach Hamill. Just to let you know, ladies and gents, we are going straight into quarterfinals. Once we have finished the motos, you need to be keeping an eye out on scores. They will be drawn as soon as your age group has finished their moto racing. Please keep an eye out on scores. You need to be in the pens, ready and waiting for your quarterfinal as soon as that last moto gate drops. Thank you very much. We love a brew. We love a brew delivery. Rich makes a proper northern brew as well. We love a northern brew. Right, on track then. Race number 133, led out by the 3 plate, doing it for Absolute. That's gotta be Archie Croker White, being chased down by MK Evolution. That's Oliver Taylor on the 17 plate. Where is Green Machine? That's Sam Richards. He's in this one in about 3 at the moment on the 15 plate, but he's under pressure into the final turn. That looked like it was, I think that might have been Reggie Somerville. Sorry, Lucas Gomez Sands, he's going to round out the top 4 spots as the 13-year-old girls exit turn number 1 and bring us through the second straight. That's Poppy Bishop, Halo Wheels Race Team, and Samaya Hughes. That's your front 2 ladies in this moto as it stands. Crank BMX coaching in there in 3. That is Tyler Davenport on the 591 plate heading into the final corner. DC Cycles got another rider in this moto. That is looking like Lexi Adams, I believe, bringing it down the final straight. Paige Cathcart Gunnarsson in there for 5.
Right, race 135. Elizabeth Lawler-Poole leading it out. That is the young lady on the E5. That is going to be Iris Hyder out of Pure Bicycles in there in 2. Poppy May Kirby. Green Machine Tribe in there in 3 with the Bradford rider, Evie Dyson. Rounding out the top 4. Also got in there the 31 and the 23. That's going to be Beth Hewitt and Elizabeth Graham, but there's a big battle to the line. Elizabeth Lawler-Poole just hanging on from Iris Hyder. Moving on to moto number 136. That is Brooke Fast Fawcett, being chased down by Absolute Bicycle Motocross.
Okay, riders, random start.
Elsie Blight, forgot what moto was on then. Amelia Martin, Millie Ross, Holly Hume in there as well. Olivia Johnson and Hannah Mackey. As we move on to moto number 137, Freya Harris, Seren Pritchard. Freya out in front, that is Grace Gerard in there in 2. Seren Pritchard in 3, Mara McCarran. Radco Racing rounding out the top 4, being chased down by Rusty Nut Racing's Lily Mae Gould. The 15 is Olivia Webb out of Teamer, but it's Freya Harris, Grace Gerard 1 and 2. Race 1 at 38, Adam Arnold in that second spot, chasing down Lawrence Bojang. Oliver Arnold in there in 3, Xavi Fox Cooper in 4, Sam Dolan in 5. Moves being made now. The 56 trying to get involved. That is Cam Brooks out of Derby. But it's going to be Bojang, Arnold, and Fox Cooper. Race 139. The 8 and the 13, Max Vass, Joe Douglas. Going 1 and 2. Louis Kacharik's in there in 3, being chased down by the 33 of Harley Steele from 01 Racing. Big gap to the riders in 5 through 8. As Max Vass and Joe Douglas cross that line 1 and 2. 28 plates of Stanley Farmer. Ooh! Nearly having to get together, and Freddie Parkinson getting in the mix as well. Going from 3 to 2. Chasing down Farmer, fancies the 1, dives underneath, classic high-low. Max's move of the day, contender right there from Freddie Parkinson. Mike's just going, just get me some more tyres, just get me some more tyres. As Charlie Bob Craig and Mark Twasadilo cruise their way into turn number 2. Gilmore Green in there doing it for Rusty Nut Racing. Ralph Sowerby out of Reactive in there in that 3rd position. But it's going to be Craig Twasadilo. Sowerby, your 1, 2, 3. Gilmore Green in 4. Race 142. James Miller, Ethan Howell, Sully Collis, Bodie Markley, Arlo Hay, Jack Perkins and Ethan Crooks Martin. Ethan in there in that 2nd spot, chasing down James Miller. That's JP, Jack Perkins, Hard Knocks Bike Coaching in 3. And the Hotshot Rider in 4. Going through as well. As we move on to the next moto. Got Jude Hoff in this one. Doing it for BM Racing. Max McNulty, Harry Tyres. All in this one. Riley Butt, James Pipe as well. As McNulty crosses that line from Henry Potts and Harry Tyres. Girls up next, 144 is your moto, and then I'll hand you back to Lewis. Georgia Surtees, Ruby Warren, Holly Diver. Martha Cotton, Eva Jerzek, Clara Salmon and Molly Fumey Carroll, but it is Ruby Warren and Esme Ward going 1 and 2 to the line. Scottish rider in there, usually I've got a feeling that is Holly Diver.
14-year-old girls on track, race 145, that is your European number 5, leading the way, Emma Kiss doing it for Absolute Bicycle Motocross. Looks like that could be Anushka Jones in there in 2, doing it for Jump Club S&M Source. BMX with her photography have got a rider inside the top 3. That is Naira O'Connell on the 8 plate, being chased down by Hard Knocks Bike Coaching's Isabella Gerard on the 9 plate is to bring it down the final straight. It's all about Emma Kiss picking up that race win. 15 open class now out on track, your world number 2, Kobe Rayford of course leading this one out. Who's that there with him? Looks like Freddie Warwood doing all he can to keep a hold of his back wheel, but Kobe Rayford, smooth as you like, running away with this race. He's going to take the win across the line. Warwood in there for 2. Race 147 hits the track. Where's Harry Bailey? He's on the inside doing it for Smiley's Fly Club. It's getting busy into turn number 1. That looks like Osborne picking up the whole shot. Heath Osborne in there in 1. Where's Nathaniel Eames? He's in there in that 4 spot looking for a way around Bailey into the second turn. Who's in there in the 2? That is the 15 plate as they come on round. Oscar Jewell out of team here. Eames with a beautiful move in turn number 2. He's worked his way from 4 to 3, but it is going to be Osborne out front taking the win. Race number 148, Millington, Hamilton, Moore, Lynch, Patterson, Tyres, Hindley and Jones. It is Toby Lynch leading this one out. Where's Nate Hamilton? He's in there in 3 at the moment doing it for Factory Mayo UK. The 2 spot then is Tyres as they come into the final turn. Moto 1 more coffees picking up the 2 spot right there behind Lynch as they bring it across the line. Race 149 hits the track. Where is Adam Stevenson? He's on the inside in there in about 4 as they enter turn number 1. Evan Bartley's just been shuffled back to 2 as the 2 plate leads this one out. Ned Guppy, smooth as you like into that second corner. Bartley in there behind him doing it for Hard Knocks Bike Coaching, who's in there for 3. Stay strong, that is Elvis Lawrence doing all he can to close the gap between him and Bartley on the exit of turn number 3. It's going to be Guppy, Bartley, Lawrence, Stevenson. That's your order as they cross the line as race 150 heads across the whole shot line in turn number 1. Isaac Shaw leading it out from the 23 plate in there in the 2 spot. That is Maxwell Lawrence. Hot Shot Racing in there as well. Benjamin Dean on the 48 plate doing it for Royston Rockets. That's your front 3 as it stands. The 629 in there as well. That is Percy Bradley doing it for Tiverton, but he's under pressure on the exit of the final corner. Henry Shenton doing it for LCC, looking for a top 4 spot as he crossed the line. Shenton looked like he might have nicked it. Yes, he did. Percy Bradley in 5. 3 on the plate, got to be Little Cotty. Rab Racing heading into turn number 2. That looks like Dexter Beerup in there in the 2 spot doing it for GY95. A-Star Racing in there as well. Brody Geddes looking at the inside of Beerup, didn't quite dive underneath, so he's going to settle for that 3 spot. Beerup putting the pressure on Cotty. Down to the line, it's going to be Cotty, Beerup 1 and 2 with Geddes inside the top 3. 15-year-old girls now out on track. Pro Star BMX, Emily Eaton in the 1 spot. At the moment going 1 and 2 with the 2 plate of Rin Gianolino, who's in there for 3. That's got to be Peckham BMX's Jalala Patel. Where's your British champ? She's in there at about 5 or 6 at the moment, having a good old scrap with the Stay Strong rider on the 4 plate. That is Sidoni Cleve. Cleve then hanging on to that 5 as it stands. Isabella Rowe in there in 6. And your 4 spot was Libby Copping. Race 153, the 15-year-old girls on track. In and out of that first corner, the 1 plate leading them away. That is Katie Millar, the 10. In there behind her, doing it for Peckham BMX. That is Matilda Zaharev, who's in there for 3. SVT Mongoose picking it up. Is Ella Blue Chidley, Bournemouth BMX on the 17. That looks like Team Air in there as well. Heading towards the final corner. Emily Grimm on the 764 plate. She's under a bit of pressure from Allen's Factory Supercross. That is Lexi Cairns. Cairns looking for a top 4 spot. Not quite going to get close enough. It is Team Air hanging on to that 4. Next up on track, Open 16 class. That is Mason Groves. Savage Racing. No, it's not. Eden Boone, Savage Racing. Mason Groves is in there in 3. The 2 spot, that's going to be Oliver James out of Fluid Bicycle Motocross. Race 155, Cranage, Milburn, Kirby, Price, Asher, Lloyd and Bradford heading into that first corner. Finn Cranage on the inside doing it for Team Bunnies. He's worked his way into that 2 spot, chasing down the 16 plate out front. That's Ollie Kirby doing it for Green Machine Tribe. Who's the 0-1 rider in there in 3? That's Malachi Lawyer on the 39 plate with Pekka BMX in there in 4. That is Eli Price on the 38. The 314 is in 5. That is Addison Milburn doing it for Exeter Eagles. But it's all out front with Green Machine taking that race win. That's Ollie Kirby. Race 156, where's Eric McSwitty's in there in the 3 spot at the moment. We've lost 1 rider in the first turn. Not quite sure who that was, but McSwitty looking to chase down the 1 and 2 riders at the moment. Who's in there in 2? That's got to be the 6 plate of Lucas Osborne. MK in and out of the final turn to go. Bradley James leading it out. James Osborne 1 and 2 across the line. That's how they're going to bring it home, along with Alex Dunkley in there for 4. Put your hands together, ladies and gents. Noah Jones.
Okay, riders, random start.
Up and on his bike, finishing his lap.
Watch the gate.
Race 157, Franklin Baptiste, Ellison, Fairley, Seeley, Jones and Blanche. It's got to be Seeley leading this on in and out of that first corner on the 3 plate. Smooth as you like for Rab Racing. He's going to 1 and 2 with the 9 plate of Rusting Up Racing's Freddie Franklin. Cardiff BMX Club. Who's the rider in there for 3? That's the 23 plate of Ollie Blanche doing it for MK Evolution. He's looking for a way into a top 2 spot. Not quite found it on the exit of turn number 3. Trying to drag race down the final straight. Has he got enough left in the tank? It's going to be Franklin hanging on to the 2 spot to Blanche in there for 3. Luke Wilcox on track. Halo Wheels race team going 1 and 2 with Elijah Jamira doing it for Rab Racing. Who's the rider in there in 3? Got to be Freddie Entwistle on the 8 plate doing it for Manchester. Where's Cooper McCrum? He's in there in 5 at the moment, chasing down the 15 plate in 4. That is Jack Davey out of Cornwall. That's your top 5 then as they bring it down the final straight. Luke Wilcox triples to the line and picks up another moto win.
Yeah, right. 16-year-old girl, Summer Glynn in this one, in there, in that second spot, chasing down Lottie Brown, the 6 and the 475, 3 and 4 at the moment. Lucy Gardner, T-Mine and Emily Dean doing it for Smiley's Flight Club. All looks like Ailey Watson's bikes minus a chain at the moment. So there's going to be some Allen keys being twirled in between this and the next moto. But it's Lottie, Summer going 1 and 2. Lucy's going to pick up the 3, Emily for the 4, and Lottie McFarlane for the 5. As we move on to race 160, Eliza French, Ruby Walford, Felicity Brewer, Etana Price, Jessie Leasley and Grace Burge. Grace in there in 1, starting to get used to that Green Machine Tribe kit now. Eliza in 2, Etana in 3, Jessie Leasley having a good lap this time around, she's in there in 4. Got Ruby Walford to deal with going down that final straight. As we move on to 17 and 18-year-olds, Oscar Stanbury, Joe Nunn, Tommy Haddleton, Callum Heath, Jack Clark, Malachi O'Reilly and Lewis Collins Nimmo. Lewis in the 4th spot at the minute. Chasing down that rider out front, Stanbury in there in 2. Rider taking the win was Malachi O'Reilly. As we move on and watch Mr. Jaden Fawcett flying in formation with Flynn Drellincourt going 1 and 2. In and out of the turn. Alex Mackey in there as well. In about 6th spot at the minute. Jono Harrody, where is Jono? In there in 3rd place, I think. Finley Collis, Sam Millington rounding out the top 5. Max Burgess in that second spot, chasing down Amos Guppy.
Okay, riders, random start.
Eli Smith in there in 3. That's going to be Ollie Coppin. Crucial BMX in there in 4th place. As we move on to moto number 164, I think we're going to go straight into the quarterfinals after the motos. Some of the quarterfinals are already up on scores. Certainly the 15s are, because I've had a look.
Okay, riders, random start.
So we're going to go into quarterfinals straight after the motos. As Henrier takes the win from Malachi Price, Sam Hamblin and Kai Blaine. Here we go again. Nathan Baratta, I think, in this one. Thomas Doran. They're going 1 and 2 at the minute. Jaden Green
Ready, watch the gate.
in there in that 4th spot. Being chased down by Lewis Cook to the line. Doran takes it. From Baratta, Townsend, Green and Cook. Right, 127. That is Thomas Millar. Got Joe Penton-Volk in this one, doing it for Rusty Nut Racing. He's in there in that 4th spot. Reese Toole, 2nd place. Fluent Bicycle Motocross. In and out the final turn. Marku Reynolds trying to get something done for Smiley's Flight Club. As he pushes it to the line, I think he's going to end up 5th with Zach Twitchin. Ladies on track, Sophie Kynaston, LVG National Race Team. Daisy Lavin doing it for Decoy,
Random start.
but making the move to the front. Alexis McCartney doing it for Sorted Race Gear, Troy Lee Designs. In and out of the turn. Annabelle Charlton in there as well. And Isla Radcliffe for Hot Shot going through in that 3rd position. 17-18. Rosie's got her bike sorted now. She's in there in 3. Adele Veruti for Peckham on that 12X.
Riders, ready, watch the gate.
As they head towards the final corner. But it's still Lucy Simpson leading it through. Lucy in 1. I think it's Adele in 2. Rosie in 3. Smiley Maloney rounding out the 4 with Charlotte Stanley in 5. Teresa McConnell in at 6. Moto 169, Sabina Ashman, Rusty Nut Racing. Out in front, Sophie Elwood in 2. Izzy Hurry in 3. Eleanor Curtis for Smiley's Flight Club in there in 4. Lucy Groundwater battling away with Bethany Coates. 19-29 now, Ben Fitzsimmons and Joshua Cates. Joshua in there in 2, but they've got Tyrese Bradshaw to deal with, and that is no easy task at all. World number 4, absolutely flying. As we move on and watch Callum Strickland. He's been 19, he's been 29. He's in his 30s now and he's going backwards in the age groups.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
Callum Strickland taking it to the line. That's Ollie Cope, I think, in there in 2. Battling with Dan Kay. Well, Luke Davies Hayes, he's already had a move of the day, a Maxis move of the day. As we watch George Gerard leading it out. Hard Knocks Bike Coaching, he's got Che Young to deal with, who's in there in 3.
Ready, watch the gate.
Alfie Baxter, stay strong. Been a long time since I've mentioned Alfie's name at a BMX race. Good to see him back. Oxter Matthew Carlard and Lamin try again, Rich. Akalele. Rounded out the 5. Brinley Savage. That's his French name, that is. In there in that 2nd position. Eddie Cannon's in there in 3. You blow your legs off. Right, I'll do I'll do another 19 to 29 and then I'll hand you on to Lewis. The caffeine and the sugar's kicked in as we watch Megan Gerard and Becca Gull head off into the distance round turn number 2 and head towards us again. Alaya Akalele in 3, that's Nita Wong. Functional nutrition queen is Anita. You want to know what to eat on race day? Have a little word. Right, race 175, Lewis.
19 to 29-year-old women out on track. Pro Star BMX, that is the 3 of Hannah Drew. Leading this one out, stay strong in there in the 2 spot. That is Remy Godfrey. On the 5 plate, Yetska Hemstock in there in 3 with Izzy Hurry. She's battling it out with Olivia Firth in there for that top 4 spot. Last turn action. Firth, Hurry, high-low from Hurry, trying to drag race down the final straight. Firth's going to hang on to the 4th spot. Hurry for 5. The battle out front, though, was between Godfrey and Drew. Godfrey nicked it on the line. Race 176 with Tilly McCrum in this race. Got a bit of work to do at the moment. She's chasing down the 2 retro racing ladies. That is Amy Willets and Ella Lamb. As they exit that second turn, Annabelle Townsend though enters the final corner. Back out again for Savage Racing. She's going to pick up this race win right the way down to the line with Imogen Gibson in there for 2. All the quarterfinals have been drawn, ladies and gents. All quarterfinals are up and posted on scores. Once again, please make sure you are in the pens, ready and waiting once that final gate drops for the motos. We are going quarterfinal racing as soon as motos have done. Thank you. Connor Hudson leading out of Masters Moto. In and out of that final corner, going 1 and 2 with Billy Luckhurst. Smooth as you like, the pair of them, as they bring it down to the line. Second rack of Masters with Mr. Issa. He's in the middle of the pack at the moment. George Higley on the inside. Adam Brazil, though, out front. His teammate, Tom Palmer, there with him. That's your 1 and 2. Crucial Racing looking good at the moment. Sean Issett, Mr. BMX Hype, he's in there in 3. Higley chasing him down in 4, doing it for Jump Club S&M Source. Another rider out of Crucial, Matt Bourne, he's in there in 5. But it is all out front with Brazil and Palmer taking it across the line. Vets hit the first turn. Scott Beaumont leads it out on the 14 plate. Looking very, very quick today. Who's he there with? That is Matt Barnard in the 2 spot on the 1 plate. Doing it for Stay Strong. Looks like we've got the 8 in there in 3. That is Grant Newbury doing it for Bath BMX, being chased down by the 7 of Hayden Torora out of Dragon Riders. The moves in the final turn. Danny T's worked his way up into a top 4 spot from 5. Torora's dropped back to 5. As we take a look at Moto 1, Muckoff leading it in and out of that first corner. John Lillingston going 1 and 2 with Zoltan Bude doing it for SVT. Mongoose, that's your front 2 guys at the moment. Who's in there for 3? That is Mark Moore doing it for Jump Club S&M Source. The 11 plate is George Salmon doing it for Team A. That's your front 4 on the exit of the final turn. Matt Eaton's in there in 5. Late charge down the final straight. Moore's going to be shuffled back to 4 as Salmon picks up 3. Grand Vets on track. The Scots are leading it out the 2 on the plate. Brett Archibald, BMX Widow Photography, heading into turn number 2. Brett Knight's right there with him, repping the Crucial colours. In there in that 2 spot, the 8 plate in there for 3. That is Stuart Little doing for Evolve Bicycle Motocross and Preston Pirates. The front 3 guys have run away with this moto as they take it down the final straight. It's going to be Brett Archibald picking up that race win. Race 182 as we near the end of the motos. Don't forget, guys, quarterfinals coming as soon as motos have done. It's the Warlock in there in 3, Pure Bicycles. Double biking it today. Has he put a shift in over winter? No, not at all. Not touched his bike since the Brits. Brilliant. Did he race the Brits? Did he race the Brits? He didn't race the Brits, no. He was with. He's in there though. He's inside the top 3, top 4 now. He'll be happy with that one. He got a moto win earlier on. That's his day done. 2 more Pure Bikes riders on track. Race at number 183. Mr. Alan Hill on the 1 plate, going 1 and 2 with his teammate Christos Chorkos. The 836 in there in 3. That is Neil Cheney out of Bournemouth BMX. But Pure Bikes are looking good out front in the final Grand Vets Moto of the day. Championship women lining up on the start. Gate goes down, race 184 hits the track, the first rack of championship women for the third set of motos heading into the first turn. Oh, the bows are banging. Emily Hunt managed to just about stick it upright. One rider down, that was Emmy Seaward. Jess Marriott leads it out for Savage Racing Moto 1. Right there with her, that is of course Megan Roy. Emily Hunt in there in 3, Anya Matt and Alonso in 4. Put your hands together, ladies and gents. Emmy Seaward back up to her feet. It got all sorts of busy in turn number 1.
Right, second rack of championship women heading down the hill. Freya the Slayer heading towards that first turn. Lexi Wade trying to get involved and right there on the back wheel as they come out of turn number 1. So Freya, Lexi, Taya, Annalise and Lorianne Carruthers. That is your 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 as they go in and out of turn number 2. Freya the Slayer starting to open up a lead now. Turning on those turbochargers into the final corner. It's going to be Chalice. Lexi Wade going 1 and 2. Taya Gaynor pushing hard for the 3. Annalise and Lorianne.
Junior men head down the hill. Tidy S has been shot out of the cannon, looking to pick up the whole shot into turn number 1. Wiz Everly's worked his way into 3. Bowen's in there for 2. Finn Phillips is up to 4. Tidy S just been shuffled back a couple of spots as he came up short on the second of the pro set. So he's back there in 4 now. Kai Bowen out front, stay strong, looking good. Everly, Phillips 2 and 3. Harvey Tomlinson in there in 5. Tidy S in 4. Kai Bowen picks up the race win.
Second rack of juniors heading down the hill. James Clitheroe right in the middle of the pack as they go into that first turn, picking up another whole shot. Here comes JTL Simpson Davis. Lucas Webster in there in that second spot. Heath Thomas in 4. Cody Coker and Sean Brown not getting across the back end of the pro set. So Clitheroe doing it for Hard Knocks Bike Coaching in and out of that final turn. It's going to be Clitheroe and Webster going 1 and 2. JTL Simpson Davis in 3.
Penultimate moto of round number 1 then of the 2026 BMX National Series. Bradley Russell leads out this Superclass moto in that National Champs jersey. He's going 1 and 2 with Ben Cornish. Good to see Ben back on track after his crash in Moto 2. That's Danny Gorman in there in 3. Danny O'Gorman, sorry, in there in 3. Harrison Bell in 4. That's how they're going to bring it down the final straight. Brad Russell on a charge, picking up his moto win.
Right, last moto of the day before we move into quarterfinals as they head into turn number 1. Marnham Hunt. Oh, he got very, very close, but Marnham got the better of it. He's in there in 1. Finn Hoff going through in 3, the 139. That belongs to Casey Markley. He's in there in 4. He's having a much better lap this time around. Essamont in 5. Miller Hughes in there in 6, but Marnham out front and absolutely charging. George Hunt keeping him honest. It's going to go Marnham, Hunt, Hoff. 1, 2, 3. Casey Markley, Arne Esselborn and Miller Hughes. Right, we're going to go straight into quarterfinals. Straight into your quarterfinals, people. We are not hanging around.
We are quarter-final racing, ladies and gents. The Open 13 class headed towards turn number one. Check this guy out, James Bibby, your national champion from last year, charging away from the rest of the pack. He's going 1 and 2 with a 21 plate of a meal challenger, doing it for Brixton BMX Club, who's in there in 3. Reactive Racing, Jack Laughlin on the 22. He's being chased down by the 15 of Samuel Richards. It's getting busy, they're queuing up behind Richards. Like Greg's on a Friday afternoon. Who's going to pick up that final qualifying spot? It's looking good for Richards to take it to the line.
Right, let's have a look. That is Leighton Harding, DC Cycles leading it into turn number one in the second quarter final for the 13-year-olds. Zach Everly in there as well, and a Ronnie Payne. Jump Club, S&M Source in and out of turn number 2. Who's got that all-important 4th spot at the moment? We are looking at Zach Everly, but Everly's under pressure from the Moto 1 rider. That's going to be Adrian Galitis. Everly, Galitis battling for that final qualifying position. Archie Bell's in there as well. Hardy's going to go through. Who's going to get that 4th? Everly.
Quarterfinal number 3 hits the track. Factory Team Mabo on the outside. That was the 8 of Jack Devine. He's now chasing down the 3-plate of Archie Croker White into turn number 2. Who's in there for 3? Sorted Race Gear picking it up. That's Charlie Cotton. Who's in there for 4? Retro Racing have got the 14-plate of Zach Hamill, but he's been tried down. Archie Croker White hits the deck. Devine, Cotton, Hamill, 1, 2, 3. Who's the rider for 4? That was Oliver Taylor out of MK Evolution.
All right, here we go. Looking at the 13-year-olds, 4th quarter-final. Joe Ruckley out, Marcus Mullen in there as well in 2. Harry Swales going out there in 3, and who's got the 4th position? It's the 5-plate, and that belongs to Itai Jamira. So Jamira looking good for that final qualifying spot. Who's going to be the unlucky man in 5? It's going to be Zach Parsons.
Okay, rider, random start. Rider, ready, watch the game.
Quarterfinal number 5, the first of the Open 14 class, heading towards the first corner. Check how Hard Knocks bike coaching leading it through. JP Jack Perkins on the 3-plate, going 1 and 2 with the 1-plate of James Miller, who's in there in 3. That looks like Lawrence Bojang. Doing it for Brixton BMX. The rider in 4 is the 10-plate of Roland Els. The front 4 are separated but clear of the rest of the pack at the moment. Who's the rider in 5? That is coming on to Fergus Suter. Got it all to do down the final straight, but JP picking up that quarterfinal win.
Right, Max McNulty into the turn. We go 1, 2 and 3, and out they come. Who's got that all-important 4th spot? It's the 20, and that belongs to my mate Sullivan Collis in there in that final qualifying position. Joe Douglas trying to work his way in as well. The 6 and the 15 out front, Max McNulty. Riley Butt, they're going to go 1 and 2. Sully's looking good for the 4. Douglas is coming, he's not going to get close enough. Sullivan makes it through.
Quarterfinal number 7 enters turn number 1, led away by the 2-plate of Ethan Howell. The 18 of Montour's Idlow is in there in the 2 spot. He's being chased down by Smiley Flight Club's Oliver Arnold. Doing it for Exeter Eagles. That's your front 3 as they head through the 3rd straight. The 61 plate is in there in 4. Finian Turner Smith out of Preston Pirates. He's under pressure from Charlie Wilcox down the final straight. Wilcox puts on a late charge and nicks that final qualifying spot.
Right, Freddie Parkinson out in front for Pro Start. Charlie Bob Craig getting involved now, going from the 4th to the 3rd to 22 in that spot, trying to work his way round. That belongs to Henry Potts, and he's there in that 4th position, coming under a bit of pressure now as they come down the straight from Ralph Sowerby. Potts and Sowerby in and out the final turn. Looks like Potts is going to hang on for that 4th spot.
Quarterfinal number 9 hits the track. Check out Absolute Bicycle Motocross heading into turn number 1. Ned Guppy, he's going to lead this one out. He's getting busy in the turn. Nathaniel Eames is up to about 3. He's chasing down the 7-plate of Isaac Shaw into that 2nd corner. Who's the team air rider in there in 4? That's Oscar Jewell. Guppy, Shaw, Eames, Jewell. 1, 2, 3 and 4 in and out of the final corner. That's looking like how they're going to stay. Ned Guppy's having an absolute blinded day. He picks up that quarterfinal win. Quarterfinal number 10 on track. James Cottrell leads it out for Rab Racing. Who's there with him? Toby Lynch is picking it up for Sorted Race Gear. The 6 is in there in 3. That's Elvis Lawrence for Station. Oh, Lynch with a move in turn number 2. Executed perfectly. Max's move of the day potential that was. In and out of that last turn to go. Lynch, Cottrell, Lawrence, 1, 2, 3. Who's going to pick up that final qualifying spot? That is Freddie Warwick.
Last of the quarterfinals for the 15-year-olds. Colby Rayford and Nate Hamilton into the turn 1 and 2. That looks like Oliver Tyers in there in 3 and the 21. He's Dexter Beerup. Dexter's in there in that 4 spot. Pressure coming from Adam Stevenson in there in 5. So Stevenson all over the back of Biro, trying to get him into that final turn. Oh, he's carved it low. Can he hold it on? Drag race down the final straight. Biro and Stevenson. Biro gets it.
Quarterfinal number 12 is on track. These are your 15-year-olds battling it out. Oh, a couple of riders exit right on out of turn number 1. It is all about the 4 plate at the moment, though. Heath Osborne out there in 1. Hard Knocks Bike Coaching's Evan Barley in there for 2. The 14 plate of Newton Hindley's in there in 3. Who's in 4? Brody Geddes out of A-Star Racing, being chased down by Rustinot. Down the final straight, that's Eddie Millington. Not quite going to get close enough. He's going to have to settle for 5.
Right, moving on to the 16-year-old quarterfinals. Lucas Seeley leading it into that first turn. He's got Ollie Kirby and Alex Dunkley for company as well. It's getting very, very tight as they go down the second straight. Elbows are locking. 39 getting banged around and bashed all over the place. That was Malachi Lloyd out of 0-1 Racing. He's been shuffled back into 6th. Who's got that 4th spot? Looks like the 273 of Henry Scher out of Tiverton. In and out that final corner. Seeley takes the win. Scher's going through in 4.
Luke the Nuke is in quarterfinal number 14 in the Open 16 class, and he leads it over the whole shot line in turn number 1. He's going 1 and 2 with the 6 plate of Lucas Osborne, doing it for MK, who's in there in 3. Savage Racing picking it up, that's Eden Boone on the 10 plate. Cooper McCrum doing it for BMX Woodard Photography. He's in there in 4, chasing down the Savage Racing rider in there in 3. But at the moment, Halo Wheels Race Team is all about Wilcox out front, picking up that quarterfinal win. Next up on track, quarterfinal number 15, in and out of that first corner, Reactive Racing leading this one out on the 4 plate. That is Bradley James, stood for Decoy BMX. He's got sorted race gear right there behind him. That is Mason Groves, who's in there for 3. Looks like Freddie Entwistle out of Manchester. The front 3 have separated from the rest of the pack. Here comes Oliver James working his way through round the outside to go from 5 to 4. He's going to pick up that final qualifying spot for Fluent Bicycle Motocross.
Quarterfinal number 16, the last one for the 16-year-olds. Elijah Jamira working his way to the front, but he's got Freddie Franklin right there with him and Ollie Turblanche as well. 1, 2 and 3 as they come out of the turn. David Opere Meha, Bangor City BMX Club getting shuffled back into about 6 at the moment. Who's got that all-important 4 position? In and out of the turn we go from 3, looking good. The 15 of Jack Davey out of Cornwall. He's in that final qualifying position. He looks like he's got enough in the tank because Finley Cranage is going to run out of time and room.
17 to 18-year-old open class on track for their first quarter-final. Where's Tom Millar? He's leading this one out on the 1-2-7 plate. The 14 is in there behind him. That is Malachi Price, doing it for Peckham BMX. The 3 spot is occupied by Rab Racing. That is Eli Smith looking for a way around the outside into a top 2 position. Hard Knocks Bike Coaches, Jaden Fawcett is inside the top 4 as well, shuffling his way through from 4 to 3. Looks like he's going to pick it up on the line. Smith in there for 4.
Quarterfinal 18, number 2 for the 17 and 18-year-olds. And Henry is absolutely on fire for Absolute Bicycle Motocross. In there in 1, Jaden Green in 2, Max Burgess in 3, Reese Toole in there in 4, being tracked down by the 259 of Zach Twitchin. So good to see Zach back on track. Has he got what it takes to make it through this quarterfinal? He's got a little bit of pressure coming from the rider behind as well. Might have just left himself too much to do. He's turning on the turbochargers, going down the final straight, right on the back of Reese Toole of the line. Couldn't quite make it stick.
Quarterfinal number 19 out of 20 is on track, heading into that first corner, and Amos Guppy leads the pack out for Absolute. He's coming 1 and 2 with the 4X of Nathan Baratta out of the Hawks, who's there in 3, looking like that could be the 149 of Malachi O'Reilly. He's being chased down by the 10 of Samson Townsend, doing it for Team Mine. The 18 plate is in there in 5, Lewis Cook. Got a bit of work to do down this final straight if he wants to pick up that final qualifying spot. Cook putting the pressure on Townsend. Townsend's going to hang on.
Right, last of the quarterfinals, Thomas Doran leading it into the turn, flying, Flynn Trellinco, sorted race gear, came out of nowhere, stole that second place away. Finley Collis in there in 3, where is Ollie Coppin? Crucial BMX, he's in there in 4, the front 4 are looking good and clear at the minute. Stanbury's in 5 and he's got it all to do, out of time and room. It's going to be Doran, Trellinco, Collis, Coppin, all making it through. 5 minutes to your semi-finals, people. 5 minutes to your semi-finals.
Semi-final number 1 lining up on the gate. Here we go, the semi-finals are underway, ladies and gents, in the Open 13 class is charging into the first corner. That's gotta be Jack Devine in there in the 2 spot, chasing down your national champ from last season, Bibby. Leading it out from Devine into turn number 2. Who's in there in 3? Ronnie Payne's picking it up as they come on round. Charlie Cotton's in there in that final qualifying spot. At the moment, the 6 plate is Archie Bell. He's in there in 5. Got a load of work to do to catch Cotton out of the final turn. Bibby leading it. Devine, Payne, Cotton all taking it through to the 13-year-old Maine.
Right, here we go, semi-final number 2, Leighton Harding in this one. Joe Rock going 1 and 2 at the minute. Where is Marcus Mullen? He's in there in that 4th spot, battling away with the rider from Retro Racing. That's going to be Zach Hamill, who's in that 4th spot. We're looking for Itai Jamira. He's back there in 6, so he's got a lot of work to do at the moment as they get towards the final corner. It's Rock, Harding, Mullen, Hamill all making it through.
13-year-old girls hit the track for their first semi-final of the day, and that is Brooke Fast Fawcett, last year's national number 2, leading out the semi-final into that second corner. She's going 1 and 2 with the European. Oh, riders down into the second turn. Looks like Seren Pritchard was one of them. Let's hope that she's all right. So that leaves Iris Hyder in there in the 2 spot. Hard Knocks bike coaching Grace Gerard. She's in there in 3. Who's in 4? That's the 11 plate of Poppy May Kirby, taking it through to the final. Poppy Bishop was one of the fallen riders. Put your hands together for Poppy and Seren.
Semi-final number 4, these are the 13-year-old girls. We are looking at Elizabeth Lawler, Poole and Freya Harris going into that turn 1 and 2 together. Samia Hughes is in there in 4. Elizabeth's giving up a spot to the number 8 of Elsie Blights. Samia in that 4 spot being chased down by Millie Ross from Team Mind. So Mind trying to get past the Irish rider. Samia's holding on to it at the minute. Freya looks like she's made a slight error, not held her up too much though. It's Freya, Elizabeth, Elsie, Samia, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Samia's under pressure from Millie, holds it to the line.
JP leads out the first Open 14 semi-final. He's going 1 and 2 with James Miller, doing it for Crucial Racing, Crank BMX Coaching in nearing 3. That is Charlie Craig being chased down by Mark towards Idlow, who had a blinding gate, and he's up there in 4th at the moment, being chased down by Charlie Wilcox into the final turn. In and out they go. JP, Miller, that's your 1 and 2 across the line. Craig hanging on to 3, and it is going to be towards Idlow, taking it through to the final.
Right, semi-final number 6, Ethan Howell leads it into the turn. Freddie Parkinson is in there as well. I think he's got Velcro on his tyres. He carved that corner that hard. The 7 going through, that is Ethan Crooks-Martin. He's in there in that 3rd spot. Freddie's had another go and pinched the position in the turn. The 11 plate of Harry Tyres holding on to that 4th spot as they go in and out the final corner. Looks like Sullivan Collis is going to be unlucky and be out in 5.
Not quite sure what happened on the gate, but a couple of riders hit the deck by the looks of things. We are looking at Hard Knocks by coaching Evan Barley, leading out the first of the 15-year-old semi-finals into that 2nd corner. Oh, it got busy. How on earth Oscar Gill will care that one up right? I have no idea. He's still in there in 3, chasing down Elvis Lawrence in 2. Carty's worked his way up to 4. Here comes Hard Knocks in the final turn. That's going to be Freddie Warwick. Carty to the line. Woo. What a time for the big screen to start working. We are looking at semi-final number 8 on track. Oh! It got busy in the exit of turn number 1. Lynch has hit the deck. Eames is in there in 4, heading into the 2nd turn. Rayford leads it. Who's in there behind him with his tyres picking it up? The 7 is Shaw in there for 3. Nathaniel Eames in there in 4. Brody Geddes looked on the inside but wasn't close enough. Eames is going to take it through to his first ever A final. What a semi-final. Put your hands together for Toby Lynch, ladies and gents.
Brilliant, that was fantastic. What a semi-final.
16-year-old semi-finals hit the track. You are looking at Bradley James on the inside. James Seeley, that's your 1 and 2 as it stands. Who's in there picking up the 3? That is the 6 mate to come on round. Lucas Osborne, he's being chased down by Freddie Entwistle, doing it for Manchester BMX Club, but it's all out front with reactive racing. Bradley James is having a blinding lap at the moment. Has Seeley got enough left in the tank to put the pressure on down the final straight? James Seeley, that's your 1 and 2 across the line. Cooper McCrum lucky in 5. Elijah Jamira leads out the next 16 Open semi-final in and out of turn number 1. Rad Racing and Fluent Bicycle Motocross. That's your 1 and 2 at the moment. Who's picking up the 3? Looks like we've got an MK Evolution rider. That is, of course, Ollie Terblanche. Terblanche is in a qualifying spot as it stands. The 14 plate is in there in 4. Alex Dunkley doing it for Evolve Bicycle Motocross. Evolve Collective, sorry. He's bringing it down the final straight. Dunkley under pressure from Franklin at the line. Alex Dunkley hung on to it. $17-18-year-olds are a go for their semi-finals, and we are led away by Henry Earrington. Oh! Someone threw a grenade of chaos into that first corner, and the Absolute Boys picked it up out of the turn. It's Guppy and Air. That's your 1 and 2 at the moment. Nathan Barat is in there for 3. Who's in 4? That is looking like Fluence Reese Tool. Tool's hanging on. Here comes Fawcett down to the line. Who's going to get the final qualifying spot? It was Tool. Put your hands together, ladies and gents. Finn Collis, Ollie Coppin, both lads are back up and finishing their laps. Semi-final number 12 hits the track, the second for the 17 to 18-year-olds, and that's got to be Moto 1 muck-off. That is Tom Miller. He's going 1 and 2 with Tom Doran on the exit of that first corner. We've lost Flynn Jellicourt, who exits right onto the pro section. That's your front 2 riders as it stands. Who's picking up 3? Looks like we've got an Allen's Factory Supercross rider. That is Jaden Green on the 171. The front 3 riders have checked out from the rest of the pack. Who's picking up the 4? Looks like we have got a Team Mind rider. It is picking it up across the line. Samson Townsend takes it through. 17 to 18-year-old women are now out on track. The 11 plate leads this one out for Rustin Racing. That is Sabina Ashman, who's in there with it. Got to be Sophie Elwood doing it for Crucial Racing. The 3 spot as they go in and out of that second corner. LVG NRT, that's Sophie Carniston, being chased on through by the 12X, I think that was, of Adele Veruti. Veruti then in there inside the top 4. She's being put under pressure as they bring it down to the line. Veruti's going to hang on. More 17 to 18-year-old women out on track. You are looking at the 803 of Lucy Simpson doing it for Pro Star BMX. She's going 1 and 2 with Alexis McCartney out of sorted race gear. The 3 spot at the moment is occupied by Hotshot Racing. That is Isla Radcliffe being chased down by the 16 of Rosie O'Brien out of BMX Widow Photography. Factory Mabo UK, Esme Brook in there in 5, putting the pressure on BMX Widow Photography down to the line, not quite going to get close enough. 19, 29-year-olds here, the first turn on the exit. It is the world number 8, Brindley Savage, leading it through for Savage Racing. Going 1 and 2 with the 5 plate of Ollie Cope out of Hard Knocks Bike Coaching. The 7 plate in there in 3. That's got to be Josh Cates being chased down by the 1 of George Gerard out of the final turn. Savage going to pick up the semi-final win. Second rack of the 19, 29-year-olds hits turn number 1. Tyrese Bradshaw, your world number 4, leads it out from Cal Strickland. Doing it for Stay Strong. One rider exits right. That was Dan Kay. Unlucky to Dan because he's had a blinded day so far. Who's in there in 3? Looks like Charlie Roy's picked it up. That's got to be Alfie Backs in there in 4. So at the moment, 2 Stay Strong riders looking to take it through to the 19 to 29-year-old final. Tyrese Bradshaw picks up the win. We are on to the 19 to 29-year-old women's semi-finals. Annabelle Townsend, your world number 5, leads this one out for Savage Racing. We've just seen Brindley Savage pick up his semi-final win. Annabelle on his team looking to do the same again. It is the 3 plate in there behind her. That is Hannah Drew doing it for Pro Star BMX. Izzy Hurry's in there in 3 doing it for Mabo Factory UK. The moves in the final turn. Look at that from Imogen Gibson. Throws in a high low to go from 5 to 4. That shuffles Olivia Firth into 5. Next up on track, the 1X on the plate. That is Megan Gerard heading towards turn number 2. Rab Racing going 1 and 2 with Stay Strong's Remy Godfrey. The 3 spot is currently occupied by the 17. Morgan Haslam doing it for Sorted Race Gear, who's in 4. Yetska Hemstock out of Ice Bike. She's under pressure there from Molly Nice, who's chasing her down the final straight. Nice is going to have to settle for 5. Hemstock takes it through to the final. Last 2 semi-finals on track, and these are your Grand Vets, ladies and gents. Hilly leads this one through. PR Bicycles, last year's national champion. Heading on towards turn number 2, he's going 1 and 2 with Jason Lewis on the 3-1-1 plate. Brett Knight's up to 3, doing it for Crucial Racing, who's in there in 4. Looking like we've got the 23 plate at the moment. That is Neil Waddington out of Cornwall BMX Club. It's all about Hilly at the moment though. Going to wrap up this semi-final win by a mile down to the line. Lewis into Knight for 3. Waddington rounds out them qualifying spots. Last semi-final of round number 1 of the 2026 Lloyds Bank BMX National Series, and it is looking like Pure Bikes are going well. We've just seen Hilly pick up a win in his semi-final, and they've got 2 riders in qualifying positions at the moment. Christos Chalkos in 3, Neil the Warlock Stewart in 4, but Brett Archibald leads out the semi-final, going 1 and 2 with the 8 plate of Stuart Little doing it for Evolved Bicycle Motocross. The Warlock separated a gap between him and the rider in 5. Can he hang on to it down the final straight? The Warlocks going through to the Grand Vets 8 final. It got busy out front for the 1 spot. Brett Archibald, Chalkos nicked the 2 from Little. 10 minutes, ladies and gents. 7:10, that's 10 past 7. We are going final racing. Make sure you are in the pens, ready and waiting, please. Thank you very much.
Right, we need riders for the finals, please. Riders for the finals, thank you.
You set my soul on fire. Baby, you set my soul on fire. You set my soul on fire.
We are ready to go final racing, ladies and gents. Kicking off the evening with the B finals. Open 13 Class B final lining up on the gates. Block 2B finals, Origo the 13 open class heading towards the first corner. It's Arjamira on the inside looking to pick up the whole shot, but it is CGR leading this one out. Archie Bell out there in the one spot, going 1 and 2 with the 16 plate of Zach Everly. Heading into that second corner, Jamira's in there in 3. Who's picking up the 4 spot as they go in and out of that second corner? That is Sam Richards on the 15, doing it for Green Machine. Everly putting pressure on Bell in and out of the final corner. Bell, Everly, drag race down the final straight. Bell's going to hang on to that B final win.
Right, B final for the 13-year-old girls. Millie Ross, Evie Dyson, Mara McCarran in this one, leading it out. Turn number 1, Paige Cathcart Cunnison in there as well. Holly Hume, Saren Pritchard, Tyler Davenport and Poppy Bishop. In and out of turn number 2, Poppy Bishop, what a move. Straight underneath Mara McCarran, stealing that first place away. Saren Pritchard in there in 4th at the moment. Team Minds Millie Ross, in there in 3. But Bishop takes that B final.
Open 14B final hits the first turn, led away by Evolve Collective. That is Max McNulty on the 6th plate. He's being chased down by Roland Ells into turn number 2. That looks like Sully Collis on the 20 plate, doing it for Absolute Bicycle Motocross with the 22 plate of Henry Potts in there in 4, doing it for the Brunty crew. In and out of the final turn, all about McNulty, showing why he should be in that A final, picking up the race win.
Right, 14-year-old girls heading into that first turn. Bella Gerard, Hard Knocks Bike Coaching, picking up that whole shot. 16 plate in there in 2, Georgia Surtees. The 15 is Noah Sirot. Nora Sirot even out of Team Minds. In there in that 3rd spot, we've got Lily Erbit, Eleanor Martin, Clara Salmon, Sophie Me, Eva Zerzek, in there as well. But it is the Hard Knocks Bike Coaching rider Bella Gerard taking the win in the 14 girls B final.
Final 5, the Open 15 class on track. All someone came together in the turn. It looks like the 8 plate was the receiver of that one. That was Toby Lynch. He's at the back of the pack now. Got a bit of work to do, so it's the 2 leading it out. Ned Guppy, Absolute Bicycle Motocross, Nate Hamilton in there in that 2 spot. This B final could 100% be an A final in this class, and it's going to be Heath Osborne rounding out the top 3.
My word, sub 30-second laps in the B final from the 15s. It's ridiculous, it really is. Anyway, moving on. I have no idea where we're up to. I think it's the 16 girls, hang on a minute. Bella Rowe, Aifa Pick, Emily Grimm, Maddie Dixon, Lexi Kearns, Evie Malkin, Kiara Jansuska, and Phoebe Blackwell. It is the Pro Star rider Bella Rowe who's led it out of that turn. She's going to take it to the line. Who picked up the 2? It was Aifa Pick. Right, we're holding race 7. We're going to move on to race 8.
The 17 to 18-year-old Open Class B final. Copping, Collis, Drellingcourt, Smith, Price, Burgess, Fawcett and O'Reilly.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
Final 8 hits the track. The 17 to 18 year olds are a go. That's Drellingcourt on the outside, but it's all about Malachi O'Reilly leading this one through the 15 plate. He's in nearing 3. That's Ice Bikes Max Burgess heading in towards that second turn. Hard Knocks Bike Coaching got a rider inside the top 4. Got to be Jaden Fawcett on the 4 plate heading towards the final corner. Ollie Coppin in there in 5. That looks like Eli Smith in there in 6, but it's going to be Drellingcourt and O'Reilly picking up the 1 and 2 spots.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
Right, here we go. 17 and 18 girls, I think this is, because that looks like Esme Brooke in there in that second spot, battling away with the 11 play. That belongs to Eleanor Curtis. So Curtis and Brooke going 1 and 2 at the moment. TNT rider, no, sorry, Lucy Groundwater in there in 3. 15X belongs to Smiley Maloney in there in 4. Annabelle Charlton in 5. Out of Preston Pirates, but it is going to be Esme and Eleanor going 1 and 2.
19 to 29 year old B final heads towards that first corner, and it is Theodore Peterkin, Peckham BMX Club leading this one out. Eddie the Hitman Cannons has worked his way into a 2 spot with a move in that first corner. Dan Kay's up to about 4 at the moment, but he's scrapping it out with Ben Fitzsimmons. It looks like the 8 plate of Jaden Seawood has worked his way into that 3 spot. Dan Kay under all sorts of pressure in the final turn, but he's going to hang on to a top 4 spot by the looks of things. Kay rounding out the top 4 spots with Seward Cannons in 2 and 3.
Right, here we go. These are the 19 to 29 year old ladies, I think. Olivia Firth, yeah, coming out of the turn. In there in 1. That is Tilly McCrum chasing it down in 2. Megan Kirby, Becca Gull, Alaya Akalele's in this one as well. Anita Wong going through in about 5. That'll be Megan Kirby aboard that absolutely lovely Commensal bike. Me and Lewis were talking about that one earlier on. Olivia's going to take it to the line. Olivia, Tilly, Megan, Amy, Molly. That is your 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5.
We are running the 16-year-old B final, so this is final number 7 on track at the moment. The 799 of Luke the Newton Wilcox leads it into turn number 2. He's going 1 and 2 with Savage Racing. That's the 10 plate of Eden Boone. Cooper McCrum's in there for 3. The 15 plate in 4. That is Jack Davey out of Cornwall BMX Club. He's being chased down by Sorted Race Gear. That's Mason Groves. He's going to round out the top 5s as the Nuke picks up the B final win.
Right, let's take a look who's up there. Looks like the vets. Big Nige Smith in that second spot. Matthew Eaton leading it out at the minute. All getting mixed up. Who else is in there as well? We're looking at the 182, I think it is, of Ben Martin out of Preston. Jack Hatfield in there as well. All getting mixed up. Ross Kennedy, Mark Kinsey. Oh! Kinsey hitting the deck. Dear me. Let's hope he's all right. He's had some massive ones, even at mid-length club races and things of that nature. Gee whiz, Mark Kinsey. All right, Mark Kinsey rolling off. Let's hope he's all right.
The final B final, lining up on the start. Grand Vets 50 plus.
Okay, riders, random start.
Grand Vets hit the track then. These gents are charging towards that first corner. Who's going to pick up the whole shot? Looks like the 12 of David Knowles doing it for MCR. In and out they go. It is Knowles leading it. The 16 of Ian Milner near it for 2. Doing it for Norwich Flyers. The 836 is Neil Cheney. Out of Bournemouth, BMX, he's rounding out the top 3 with Gosport National Race Teams. Daniel Carey George in there in 4. Who's out front though? Still looking good for Knowles out of Manchester. In and back out of the final corner. He's going to wrap up this Grand Vets win all the way down to the wire with Milner in there for 2.
Right, 13-year-olds up on the gate. Charlie Cotton, Zach Hamill, Marcus Mullen, Leighton Harding, Ronnie Payne, Joe Rook, Jack Devine, and James Bibby.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the game.
13-year-old boys heading down the hill. James Bibby's got an absolute flyer into the turn. Jack Devine in there as well. They're going 1 and 2. Rook's in there in 3. Marcus Mullen pushing from about 5 at the minute. Charlie Cotton enabled, giving it everything he's got in his first National A final. Bibby down the straight though towards the final turn. Looking absolutely unstoppable aboard that Mabel. Riding for Pro Star. Bibby's going to take it to the line. Bibby, Devine, Rook, Mullen, Hamill. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 13-year-old girls up next. Poppy May Kirby, Samia Hughes, Elsie Blight, Grace Gerard, Elizabeth Lola Poole, Freya Harris, Iris Hyder, and Brooke Fast Fawcett.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the game.
Go, go, go for the 13-year-old girls heading down the straight towards the turn. Brooke Fast Fawcett, Hard Knocks Bike Codging. Oh, gets the nudge. No problem though, keeps it going. That is Elizabeth Lola Poole sorted race gear in there in 3. Freya Harris is all over the back of Brooke Fawcett down that third straight. Has she got enough in the tank to catch her? Bella Gerard, Grace Gerard, in there as well. So, Fawcett taking the win for Hard Knocks. Harris in 2. Elizabeth Lola Poole in 3. Grace Gerard rounding out the 4. Right, 14-year-olds, Harry Tyers, Ethan Crooks Martin, Mark Tosadilo, Charlie Craig, Ethan Howell, Freddie Parkinson, James Miller, and Jack J.P. Perkins.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the game.
14-year-olds leaving the gate, JP on the inside, but look who's got an absolute flyer. Crucial BMX is James Miller. JP's in there in 2. Here comes Freddie Parkinson trying to thread the needle. Twazadilo on the inside. Couldn't quite get over the step up into the turn. Miller looking good. JP in there in 2. Freddie Parkinson looking to round it out with the podium, but Miller's going to take it. Miller, JP Parkinson, Ethan Howell as well. Twazadilo rounding out the 5. 14-year-old girls, Nair O'Connell, Molly Fumey Carroll, Martha Cotton, Anushka Jones, Holly Diver, Esme Ward, Ruby Warren, and Emma Kiss.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the game.
14-year-old girls, Esme Ward on the outside, but she's got Ruby Warren to deal with, and Ruby's picked up the whole shot. Absolute bicycle motocross in there as well. Oh, I think Holly Divers exited the wrong side. Anushka Jones trying to make some moves as well from about 4th spot. But it is Warren, Ward, 1 and 2, Emma Kiss in there in 3. Looks like Pure Bicycles are going to take their win. Pure Bicycles, Ruby Warren, Esme Ward, Elsie Blight, 1, 2, and 3.
15-year-olds A final lining up on the start. We've got James Cottrell, Nathaniel Eames, Isaac Shaw, Oscar Jewell, Oliver Tyers, Elvis Lawrence, Evan Botley, and Kobe Rayford.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
The 15-year-old boys are a go. Rayford's on the inside, heading to turn number one. Where's Barley looking to thread the needle? Oh, Eames throws in a high-low in turn number one. He's up to about 4, neck and neck with Barley. Rayford leads it out. Who's in there with him? Got to be Tyers in 2. Cotty's in there for 3. Barley's in 4. Eames in 5. Shaw's in 6. Last turn action. In and out they go. Rayford's going to pick this one up down to the wire. It is going to be Tyers, Cottrell, Bartley with 2, 3, 4. Nathaniel Eames takes 5. 15-year-old girls are lining up on the gate for their final. We have got Matilda Saharev, Ella Blue Chidley, Sidoni Cleve, Libby Copping, Jalala Patel, Rin Giannolino, Katie Millar, and Amelie Eaton.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
Final 19 is a go. Looks like Rin Giannolino has slipped out of the gate and she's already battling it out to get up to about 5 or 6 into turn number 1. But Amelie Eaton has checked out from the pack. Last year's national number 3. Eaton jumps into turn number 2. Pro Star BMX leading this one out. Who's in there with it? Got to be Jalala Patel on the 5 plate. Who's picking up 3? That is the 7 of Libby Copping. Doing it for Crucial Gang. He's getting busy for the 4 spot. Looking like we have got Moto 1's Katie Millar hanging on to the 4 at the moment. Eaton picks it up across the line. Patel, Copping, Millar 2, 3 and 4. But no one could ask a question of Amelie Eaton.
Right, 16-year-olds up on the gate. Right, Alex Dunkley, Ollie Turblanche, Oliver James, Freddie Entwistle, Elijah Jamira, Lucas Osborne, Lucas Seeley, and Bradley James.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
16-year-olds, look at the speed of these guys heading down the hill. Lucas Seeley shot out of a cannon. He's been looking good all day long. In there in 1. Lucas Osborne, Elijah Jamira, Freddie Entwistle, Alex Dunkley's had a problem. His lap is over. Jamira's in there in about 5. Oliver James in 4. That is Bradley James in there in 2. But Lucas Seeley, Rab Racing, bringing it down past the team. He's going to take the win. James in there in 2, Osborne in 3, Oliver James in 4, Elijah Jamira in 5. 16-year-old girls, Emily Dean, Itana Price, Ailey Watson, Summer Glynn, Lucy Gardner, Eliza French, Lottie Brown, and Grace Burge.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
The girls are go, the 16-year-olds, Ailey Watson, she's had a mixed bag of a day, but this is looking good in the final. Lottie can't stop, won't stop Brown, right there with her in 2, Itana Price in 3, Eliza French in 4, Grace Burge rounding out the 5 at the moment, Summer Glynn's in there in 7, doing it for the Irish connection. Now, Watson's under pressure from Brown, Watson and Brown into the final turn. It's going to be a drag race. Ailey's got a nose out in front. Lottie's not done yet. Half a bike in it. Oh! Ailey literally by a 10th.
17 to 18-year-old. Yeah, it is. We're already going. 17 to 18-year-olds lining up on the gate. Let's get you introduced. We've got Reese Toole, Nathan Baratta, Samson Townsend, Jaden Green, Thomas Doran, Henry Eyre, Tom Millar, and Amos Guppy.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
17 to 18-year-old open classes a go. Tom Millar out of lane number 1. He's going to pick up the whole shot into the... Oh my word! Max's move of the day material right there. Henrier went from about 5 to 1 in turn number 1. Who's here with him? Tom Doran picking it up. There's Millar in there for 3. Who's in 4? That looks like the 171 as they head into the final turn. That is Millar down to the wire. It's going to be Air taking the win. Doran for 2, Millar for 3, Green for 4. Wow, 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 what a move that was in turn number 1. I'm calling that. That's Max's move of the day, 100%. Henrier, Max's move of the day. Whoever needs to sort out what they're going to sort out, give the lad what he wants. 17 to 18-year-old girls up on the start. We have got Adele Veruti, Rosie O'Brien, Isla Radcliffe, Sophie Kynaston, Alexis McCartney, Lucy Simpson, Sophie Elwood, and Sabina Ashman.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Here we go with the 17 to 18-year-old girls. Sabina Ashman has been on fire all day long, and she's just been shot out of a cannon for the final. Ashman leads it out for Rustin Racing. That looks like Alexis McCartney in there for 2. Doing it for Sorted Race Gear. Who's in 3? That's LVG NRT. That's Sophie Kynaston, but she's being chased down by Lucy Simpson. Doing it for Pro Star BMX. Ashman, though, no one can get close, and they haven't been able to all day long. Ashman's going to take the win. McCartney for 2. Kynaston rounds out the podium positions.
Right, hold on to your hats, people. The 19 to 29-year-old age group is lined up on that gate. George Gerard, Alfie Bax, Joshua Cates, Charlie Roy, Callum Strickland, Ollie Cope, Tyrese Bradshaw, and Brindley Savage. Strap yourselves in, guys. This is going to be insane.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
19 to 29, enough watts to light up a small city. Tyrese and Bradley into the corner. Tyrese gets the whole shot. Brindley Savage in there in 2. That is Ollie Cope in 3. And as they head in towards that corner, Callum Strickland's trying to make some moves from 6, but Tyrese Bradshaw shot out of a cannon, but Brindley Savage isn't done yet. He's going to chase him all the way down the street. Oh! Tyrese blows it! Oh my word! I said it was going to be insane. Brindley gets the win. Alfie for 2, Charlie in 3. Tyrese got out of control. Oh my words. Tyrese is sat up, that's a good sign. We need to check on Ollie. Right, Tyrese is up. Oliver's up as well. Another pair of race pants going in the bin.
Random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Right, 19 to 29. Girls lining up on the gates. Tell you what, Premiership football's got nothing on this, has it? Premier League football. All Wendy ballers making millions a year. And they're not half as tough as these guys and girls, I'm telling you that right now. So, 19 to 29, Jetska Hempstock, Morgan Haslam, Imogen Gibson, Izzy Hurry, Remy Godfrey, Hannah Drew, Annabelle Townsend, and Megan Gerards. 19 to 29-year-old girls leaving the gate. Let's have a look who's going to head to that first turn first. Looks like Annabelle Townsend getting in there. Megan Gerard as well. She's slotted into that second spot. Remy Godfrey in there in 4. Hannah Drew in 3. Izzy Hurry in 5. Yetska in 6. Coming out of the turn down towards the final corner. Morgan Haslam pushing hard as well. In and out the final turn. Looks like Annabelle Townsend's going to pick it up. Megan Gerard's right on the back wheel. She's going to run out of time and room. Annabelle takes it. Megan, Hannah, Remy, Izzy. That was your top 5.
I've been looking forward to this one all day. Masters lining up on the gate. Let's get you introduced. We've got David James, Matthew Bourne, George Higley, Sean Issett, Tom Palmer, Connor Hudson, Billy Luckhurst and Adam Brazil.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
Gate goes down, Masters hit the track. Check out Adam Brazil heading for turn number 1. Well, Connor Hudson's right there. Luckhurst on the inside. Luckhurst leads it. He got busy in the turn and threw a few bows, and he's ended up inside the top 4. Hudson got it all wrong and he shuffled back. He's in there in 3. Palmer's in 2, but Billy Luckhurst, national champ sleeve for a reason, gonna wrap up the first national Masters win of the year. Luckhurst, Palmer, Hudson, Issett, Bourne, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5.
And now we've got the veterans lining up there. George Salmon, Mark Vries, Grant Yerbury, Danny Taylor, Zoltan Bude, Matt Barnard, John Lillingston, and Mr. Scott Boom Boom Beaumont.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
Don't sweat, because here come the vets. It's going to be insane as they head into that first turn. Beaumont on the inside, picking up the whole shot. We've lost one rider on that first straight, not quite sure who it was. He's in there in 1. Barnard going through in 3. Lillingston in there as well. I think it was George Salmon who hit the deck. In and out the final turn. Boom, boom, boom on the 96 podcast. Wrap your ears around it. Taking the veteran win.
Grand Vets lining up on the gates. We've got Neil the Warlock Stewart, Neil Waddington, Brett Knight, Jason Lewis, Stuart Little, Christos Chorkos, Brett Archibald and Alan Hill.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders, ready, watch the gate.
Gate goes down, Grandbeds hit the track, Hilly's out of lane number 1 and he's looking to pick up another hole shot to add to his collection today. Aboard the big and small wheels, Hilly on the 1 plate out front looking good. Brett Archibald's in there for 2, Jason Lewis in there for 3. That's Brett Knight in 4, doing it for Crucial Racing. Here's Stuart Little going right round the outside, doing it the hard way, and he's just about worked his way into a top 4 spot, but he's got Christos Chorkos to contend with, who sticks an elbow out and goes round the outside. Hilly, Archibald, who's going to get 3 on the line? Jason Lewis hangs on. Chorkos for 4.
Right, Junior Open at the line. We have got Cody Coker, Finn Phillips, Jay Teal Simpson Davis, Noah Everly, Lucas Webster, Heath Thomas, Kai Bowen, and Mr. James Clitheroe. Junior Open, 8 really fast guys heading down the hill. Kai Bowen, James Clitheroe into that first turn, 1 and 2. Absolute bicycle motocross. Lucas Webster in there in 3. Heath Thomas working his way in as well. JTL Simpson Davis right there in the middle of the pack. But as they come out of turn number 2, James Clitheroe, Hard Knocks bike coaching, in and out that final turn. He's going to take the win. 2 riders down in the last corner. Clitheroe, Bowen, Webster. JTL Simpson Davis off track. Finn Phillips, I think, went down in that pile-up as well. I was busy watching what was going on at the front of the race. I'm going to hand you on to Lewis for the last two finals of the day. Championship Women and Superclass. Let's hope Finn's all right. He stood up. Well done, Finn. Always good to see him walk away. Right, two more finals left. Lewis Locker, the floor is yours, sir.
Let's get you introduced to our Championship Women lining up on the gate. Out of Blackpool, Emmy Seward. Out of Halo Wheels Race Team, Annalise Cadman Carpenter. For Moto 1, Megan Roy. For Speedco, Emily Hutz. For Moto 1 again, Tia Gaynor. Out of the Bronte Massive, Lexi Waits. Riding for Savage Racing, Jess Marriott. And for Absolute and Mabo, Freya the Slayer Chalice. The gate goes down and Championship Women hit the track. Chalice out of lane one, looking to pick up the whole shot. Wait on the inside, works her way into two. Where's Emily Hutchins in there in three? That's Jess Marriott in four. Heading into turn number two they go. Chalice leads it out. Aboard her Mabo bikes, looking to pick up the win on day number one of the 2026 National Series. Hood throws it a high-low in the final turn, putting the pressure on Wait down to the wire. Wait's going to hang on to two. Emily Hood for three. Jess Marriott rounds out the top four, but ladies and gentlemen, your winner in Championship Women, Freya Chalice. The final of the day lining up on the gates. These are your Superclass men. Out of Stay Strong on Esselmont. For Pure Bikes, Harrison Bell. For Absolute Bicycle Motocross, Ben Cornish. Out of BM Racing, Finn Hoff. Doing it for Manchester, Danny O'Gorman. Out of LCC Race Team, George Hunt. And two riders out of Birmingham, last year's national champ, Joss Marnham. And repping the national champion jersey, Brad Russell. The final of day number one. Here's the track. Cornish has had a blinding start on the outside. George Hunt leads it to the turn. Finn Hoff has thrown it under in the corner. It's Hunt, Cornish, Hoff. That's your 1, 2, 3. Marnham's in there in 4. Russell's in 5. Harrison Bell stuck a move in turn number 2 and worked his way into a 4 spot. LCC Race Team are going to get their first Superclass Men National win. George Hunt takes it across the line. Cornish, Hoff, 2 and 3. Harrison Bell rounds out the top 4 for Pure Bicycles. That's day one done, ladies and gents.
Right, I've got a public service announcement coming.